What's up, everybody? I'm Jeremy. You guys are watching Inside the Coils. Tonight, we have Jessica Hare from Hare Hollow Farms and the Holdback Rack joining us. It's going to be a great episode. We're going to be diving into some really awesome topics, or at least I think they're awesome topics. We're going to be diving into some really good stuff. Make sure you guys get your pen and paper out because you might want to start taking some notes. But let's bring Jessica out, and then we will go through, say hi to everybody, say thanks to our sponsors. You guys know the whole ordeal.
Hi.
What's up, Jessica?
Good evening. We
How
were
are you?
late.
Everybody, I'm not gonna lie. We were talking backstage, and she's just like, "Hey, we're 3 minutes past. Come on, let's fire this shit up." So, Jana, I now experience what you talk about sometimes on the show. It was pretty funny.
Right, we were already like talking shop and gabbing, and then I was like, "Whoops."
I think everybody's used to me starting a little bit late. Normally, it's because of the kids, but hey. But let's go through and say hi to some people here that are in the chat, and then we'll thank our sponsors. Derek, D and K Reptiles, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. Mitzi Ann, thanks for tuning in, girl. Good to see you in the chat. Strictly Strange Snakes, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. Tara Voodoo Doll Royals, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. The one and only Kike, what's up, brother? Thank you very much for tuning in, dude. Your carpet's all ready to rock and roll, dude. He's a beauty. I'm not gonna lie. I'm anxious I need update pictures every couple of months just to see how this sucker colors up because he's beautiful now. Will's Hella Heat. What's up, Will? Thanks for tuning in. Phil, what's up, bro? Thank you very much for tuning in. We got Frank from Locked and Loaded. What's up? Thanks for tuning in, bro. Let's see here. Tim from Menboas. What's up, dude? Thank you very much for tuning in. Tim, I've been working on the sponsorship ad and everything, so I've kind of got it worked out. That'll be running in probably not this week's video, but maybe next week's video. I got to see how. I think it's 2 videos out yet, but got that nicely rolling there. So thank you very much for your support, bro. We got Charlie Gray Rider Reptiles. What's up, dude? Thanks for tuning in. Charlie, I gotta ask you, is the clown test ready yet, bro? Like I gotta, every time Charlie's in the chat, I have to pressure him a little bit on it. And every time we get the same answer. But one of these days he'll tell me, yes, it's good. And that catches us up. All right, let's go through and thank the sponsors of our episode, and then we'll get this live going and cooking because you guys are all here to hear what Jessica has to say. So let's go through here, and as you can tell, the sponsors are now up on the screen above all of us. But we gotta do a little bit of a spiel. I mean, I gotta put some work in. So we got Nathan of Infinite Possible Pythons, guys. If you are looking to get into the Bang Project, this is the man you guys need to talk to. He is in charge of the Bang Project now, so hit him up. He's also working with Kahua geckos, Leachianus geckos, crested geckos, bunch of other awesome ball python projects as well, and scaleless corn snakes. So that's a kind of up Jessica's alley there, I do believe, with the corn snake stuff. And on top of it, he is your one-stop shop for all of your branding needs. So hit Nathan up. All of his links are in the description down below. And Jessica, you guys have this wonderful gentleman as one of your sponsors. We got
Double
Chris.
Dip.
Yes, we got Chris from S Reptilia, guys. He is your one-stop shop for basically all your reptile needs. If you need a ball python, blood python, boa, colubrid, this man can hook you up. If you're on the eastern side of PA, hit Chris up for some rats as well. And he is Pennsylvania's distributor of Cocoa to Go and the Chipper. Best cocoa substrate on the market, folks. If you don't believe me, go and watch the Holdback Rack's video on Jana did some testing on a bunch of different cocoa substrates. Go check it out. If I do recall, I think Cocoa to Go came out on top in that whole testing with all those other brands. If I'm not mistaken, I might be slightly mistaken, but it was at least in the top 2. I will say that.
Yeah, it just depends on the flavor of Cocoa to Go you want, but it did rank high in all tests.
Yes. Mm-hmm. See, I love Cocoa to Go. It's what I use for all my stuff. And then we've got my brother John and sister Christine of Triforce Morphs, guys. These guys, basically, if you can't find what you're looking for with them in a ball python, I don't know where to send you that. They're working so many different projects with ball pythons, beautiful animals. I do believe I actually just got possibly a world's first from them at the last Gettysburg show. So they've got a lot of awesome stuff, guys, and really hatching out some true killer heat this year as well. So I look at it this way: Triforce Morphs, they are a force to be reckoned with. So go and check them out. Like I said, everybody's links are in the description down below. Also, make sure if you're not using Husbandry Pro, free 30-day trial of the best reptile record keeping and tracking software on the market. Click the affiliate link in the description down below. Or if you're watching this on a computer, scan that QR code and get a free 30-day trial. You can't go wrong. If you don't like it, don't sign up for it then. But I'll be surprised if you don't sign up for it. And also, if you're not using Redline shipping, use this code ROBIN60 for 60% off 2 shipments, folks. I've been using Redline all this year, even had to experience an issue with my shipping, and it was not Redline's fault. It was on FedEx, but Redline handled it fantastically. So needless to say, I'm a Redline customer for the foreseeable future. I don't ever plan on changing with how they handled everything. So that's it. That's my spiel, folks. Now it's on to the actual live, which Jessica's like, Jesus, thank God.
It's fine. Ours is long too.
Well, all right. What is your cutoff point for how many sponsors you will allow at one given time?
6.
6? Okay.
Plus like Vet DNA, but they're not even really a sponsor. They're just like, I was like, give us a code to be nice to people. Because it's hard, right? Like I get it, because we have like a waiting list for sponsors, and we're still trying to like parse out how we want to like, value people's desire to want to sponsor. But then like, I still want to give our sponsors good service. So yes. I don't want 10 and just their picture up there necessarily, because then I don't know. Can you give them what their money's worth with just your picture? Maybe, but I don't know. I don't know.
I think some of it also boils down to like you guys do kind of like what I started to do now, because I'm not gonna lie, I really like the idea of the way you guys did that. Somebody else started doing that as well. I think Adam from Proper Royals does it too on his. Puts the sponsors up top there. Mm-hmm. And it was a really good idea, because the logos get bigger than, let's see, do I still have it on here? Yeah, I still have, because I had that before, and it's like they're so stinking tiny, you can't really see them that well.
Yeah, and most people are watching this on their phone anyway. I don't know the right answer. I'm like the worst person to talk to about this. Because I think what drives value is mostly that you give your sponsors chances to come on your show and like talk about their brand in whatever way, or like their projects, and so then people can like learn to like them. I think that's almost more valuable than like logo placement necessarily. So like if that's part of the like give and take, that makes more sense. But how do you do that if there's 40 sponsors? You run out of weeks in the year or whatever.
You do, yeah. I know a lot of times what I try to do is I run like the round tables. So like I'll get Chris, Nathan, John, and Christine from Triforce, mm-hmm. and then we always have to get my buddy Danny from DTMG on as well. Danny's like that. How do I want to put it? Danny's that harsh dose of reality that everyone needs, but doesn't ever really want to hear.
Right, roundtables are good.
Comical way, so it works.
Yeah, because then you can like give them exposure time without necessarily like forcing them to sit through a whole interview where they have to like be on the whole time. So yeah, I think that's what drives sales for our sponsors is letting our, the people who view the show learn to love our sponsors too, because we may know them, but like you have to teach them to like them, if that makes any sense. That's my opinion. So then you can't have that many sponsors per one set period of time.
And then also, my buddy Danny always gives me so much crap. He goes, like, you have all these sponsors. He's like, it's like the whole show's a commercial, and then you get like just this little bit of information, and then the show's over. It's like, come on, man, it isn't that bad. So I've been trying to speed things up a little bit, give everybody that here, the brand recognition, show their logo off, because I think like Nathan from Infinite Possible Pythons, he's a very brand oriented kind of guy. He's like just showing, just throwing, having that logo there will eventually, like, people will see it and they'll just automatically start associating, that logo.
Hopefully, that's the dream. I know that, like when Shane has had sales and he's like, such and such told me they saw me on the podcast and liked that he did X. So they're maybe like the sales funnel of seeing the logo was step 1, but like learning how he keeps his snakes was step 7, and then step 8 is conversion to a sale. So it's all part of the process. We're doing it. I think. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Wasn't trained in marketing.
See, that's it. I have a high school diploma.
Look, there he is. Speaking of the devil.
Phil cut my first clutch from my white lace male. Wasn't disappointed at all. Awesome, dude. Well, you will have to share some pics in the group chat, dude. Anxious to see that. Oh, shit.
Speak of the devil.
From Small Town Exotics, which I do believe that's one of your original sponsors, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he tricked us early.
Although I'm kind of surprised he didn't claim he was first. He always says he's first in every chat.
It's an imposter. That's not actually Shane using his account.
It's What's up, Shane? Thanks for tuning in, dude. Greatly appreciate seeing you in the chat there. Everybody, also, if you're new to watching the cast or the live stream, whatever the hell you want to call this, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hit the like button as well. Greatly appreciate all the support. We are here. There we go. There we go.
Right, it's actually him.
Now.
Dang
we know it's actually Shane. But yeah, make sure you guys, we are here every Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, unless it falls to where Comic-Con is on a Saturday, or not on Saturday, on a Sunday. And then we can't skip Comic-Cons. That's just not allowed.
Hi, Chris.
The nerdiness is strong with me, so I have to go to Comic-Cons, especially this one. This is coming up, guys. It's, let's see, what is the date? Give you guys just a heads up a while, but you guys are gonna get a treat anyway from it, because it'll be August 12th is when I'll be doing the live instead of the 13th. But we're gonna be doing a live egg cutting, everybody. So I'm making it up to you. We're doing a day early, but we're cutting a clutch on time. So make sure you guys are here for that. But anyway, Chris, what's up, dude? Thanks for tuning in, bro. Good to see you. All right, let's get into this. Jessica, tell us a little bit about yourself. What got you into the hobby and made you decide to start breeding? And then we'll start getting into the really good info.
So I got in the hobby when I liked dinosaurs when I was 2, basically, like everybody else, I think, or a lot of people. I was like one of those dinosaur children, but I didn't like reptiles outside of dinosaurs that specifically till I had a green iguana when I was 10, which is not the best pet.
No.
And my mother was like, this is the worst pet I've ever had. And so by the time it was a female green iguana, she was like 2 and really big and too much. This is the 90s, so, not enough internet to like keep people from getting green iguanas for $19.99 at Petland. Okay.
In the 90s, was there, like, I'm trying to even think back, because I was born in 87. I'm even trying, I don't think I remember AOL even becoming a thing until like mid 90s.
Yeah, I think we got our first gateway computer sent to our house in like 99. So unless you were like an early adopter, you had a book at the library. So my mom made me trade that iguana in at the store for like store credit, and then I could buy like a snake, which is technically easier than iguana, which it is, to substitute it. And that snake was a boa imperator, a common boa male. Okay. So that's where it started for me. And I just kept it as a pet for a couple of years. Then I was like So this is like 1999 or something. So just when like breeding full time was becoming a thing that people could do, like the idea. So like Pete Call was a big thing. I didn't mean to say that name out loud. But that's true. And so like as I got into high school, I was like, I'm gonna breed boas full time when I grow up, and bought like relatively expensive animals, put together birthday money, blah blah blah. And then I had lots of animals, but I ended up like focusing on boa projects specifically because I liked them the best at that time. And then I guess around 2005, I discovered what I suspect now was a rhinovirus in that collection. So some things died and some things I euthanized, and some more things died and some more things I euthanized. But at that point, there was no test. So you had to just assume it was all lost and euthanize, close your collection and euthanize everything because you can't tell because there's no test. And so by 2008, I had euthanized everything and just did field herping stuff for a long time.
Basically. Which I'm sure, I mean, that was a tough hit. I mean, I can't even imagine having to go through all of that. So that
I complain about it much longer on my stupid podcast, but if you want the long version, moral of the story is I wouldn't have got back in if testing didn't exist and they hadn't discovered the virus that caused IBD, which is a rhinovirus, because it's not worth having snakes if randomly they could all die.
Yeah,
last time I checked. It's stupid.
That's one, like, I know my biosecurity is not. You would probably slap me silly with certain things, but then I'm sure that there's a lot of people in this world and industry that you would probably be slapping silly on different things. But because of watching you and Jana on the Holdback Rack, it's definitely kicked me into a different gear to be more worried and more focused about it. So I do need to thank you on that one.
Yeah, the hard part is like there were other people like me who maybe didn't get anything, right? So like we were all doing the same thing, which at that time was quarantine a boa for a minimum of 6 months or better 1 year. If it seemed okay after a year, it probably didn't have IBD. But that's not true, actually. Joke's on all of us because it can just hide forever, indefinitely in some animals. So like me quarantining for a year was not enough. So it can always appear like you're doing enough until more information is known later. So like some people now are like, I never had a problem yet. So I don't know what the right amount of, prophylactic procedures is. But once you're burned hard, you're like much more scared. So you're willing to do more prophylaxis at that point.
Oh, I believe it. God, I can't even imagine. Like, that's my buddy Mike breeds boas, and I have wanted, like, there for the longest time, I wanted to get, because I love IMGs. And I wanted to get one so bad. And he's like, dude, he goes, if you want one, I'll just give it to you. He goes, you don't even have to pay. Just take it. Just have one. Just say you have one. And I got the thing in because then I heard about IBD and on how like it's death sentence for pythons. I thought, well, hell, I am not risking bringing anything in. Not that like his stuff, as far as I know, has no issues. Like you just said, it could linger and no signs or anything like that.
Well, you could get it this free snake. What a blessing! And just test it, right?
I could, yes. That is true. But this, when he had offered it, it was before I knew about all this testing stuff and everything.
Oh, so now you got to go back and be like, how many free INGs do you got? Let me give you the old pat down. See how many boas you got in there.
Here's the bad thing. He didn't breed anything this year, so I know he doesn't have anything to shake down now.
Well, and the IMG price is way down in the toilet right now. Anyway, so you probably go buy one for like $1.50. You know?
Well, I think prices for almost everything, it's scary. Like, it's scary low on just about everything. And sometimes
Some
I
things
wonder
are
if
still fine though. I mean, we do the stonk report. Like some stuff is like holding fine, and some stuff is dropping 20% per quarter, which means it'll be down, 70% year over year versus last year. Once we do like the final tally, I think if it like is too demoralizing for someone, then you have to like figure out how to like recontextualize the price drops as like a benefit, because then your dollar cost averaging as you buy and do stuff at cheaper prices.
Yes. See,
like, you got to find ways to be positive about it. Like it does suck selling into this environment because you're like,
Well, here's my question, and I want your opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, us as breeders, we keep dropping the prices because we don't want to be sitting on these animals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, in my way of thinking, we are to blame for the way the prices are because we keep dropping our prices. If we would just say, "Hey, this is what this animal costs across the board, across the industry," and that's it, and everybody just stayed firm, would the prices not, in theory, stabilize? And
that sort of collusion only works if the number of animals is low.
Okay.
So, like, let's pretend all the people who breed Bredli, because Bredli aren't actually bred that often, just look at each other in the eyes and like, Bredli are worth $500 this year. I'm serious. They could all choose to list them for only $500. How many clutches are laid every year? 15 or something? 20 total in the whole country? It's just, there isn't that much demand. So do they want to sit on snakes they could sell for $200, and it still takes a season or two to sell a whole clutch of Bredli because they get big, and it's a very specific kind of person who wants that kind of snake? Or do they want to sit for 3 seasons and have them get pretty big to get $500? It's just like the price the market will bear. To me, a lot of the prices look like the prices in 2019 when I was buying in.
Okay.
So they're not necessarily coming way down. They're going back to what they were.
Yes, I would agree with you on that one. It's kind of like everything stabilizing at this point.
Yeah, and some things are like falling even from 2019 because they're just like falling down the normal Morphe price curve. But some things aren't falling nearly as fast. So just the situation is changing. To me, the hard part is like, if we're all selling stuff now was worth 300 to 500 and was like pretty good, but all of that is now pet stuff. We've accidentally made stuff that was pet stuff when we meant to make pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
And so now like the pet market is overburdened with a bunch of stuff that's $100 to $150, but it's not good enough. And it could have been good enough because it's maybe like a female het clown, pos het pied, 1 incomplete dominant. That's not good enough anymore. No. It's okay, but it's not.
Sadly,
it's not like, kind of good breeder starter material. Now it's almost a pet thing.
That's kind of where it's my byproduct, but I've got like 2 normals. They're males. So that part of it sucks because they're normals, but they're double het Exantic DG. So it wouldn't have been a bad building block, but the fact that they're normals and everything is the way there is, and with how Exantic is with being so line specific, and it seems like I work with DSK, so you're like that's even a smaller market at this point than
animals like that, in my opinion, in this market need to be wholesaled instantly as normals or sold as pets normals, or whatever outlet you have for stuff that isn't literally a normal or a single gene codon. Because the cost of a DG het Exanthic or Exanthic het DG or whatever is cheap enough on the male side. Nobody's going to want to do the double het game, really. I mean, some people might, let me not say absolutes. We're not Sith Lords here. Come on. But that market is limited at this point. So the amount of animals that are produced making these double het pairings far exceeds the need for those males.
Yeah.
So they need to be shuffled off to a pet home.
See, that's where I'm kind of starting to rapidly realize as well that, you know, what I thought, you know, hey, at this price, it should move no problem, but it's not. Like, they're still here. So I'm kind of saying, you know what? I'm at that point where I am just going to have to suck it up and take it on the chin and keep on trucking.
Yeah. And the amount of people who got hosed doing double pairings, and they got mostly males. So, like, their best versions, 3 incomplete dominants or 4 incomplete dominant male double het, might be the one that someone will breed out of. But all of the other permutations, and if you just have like a normal or a pastel or an inchy or a lesser or a spider double, right to the pet store. Goodbye. Goodbye, buddy.
The last show I was at was Gettysburg, and it's really like, it sucks because every time I go to Gettysburg, it's a great show, probably like one of the greatest. I say, like, in the Northeast, by far probably the greatest show in the Northeast. But every time the show comes, I have nothing really to sell, just because all the good stuff gets sold, and then I'm left with 2 normals that are double het exantic DG, 3 bumblebees that are het exantic. Well, one's het exantic het DG, the other one's het exantic 50% het clown. So it's like, you know, all the good stuff goes, and then I'm stuck with 6 animals of just that.
Do you have to keep your table, or could you like sublease your table to somebody who has inventory?
I have a deal set up with them that a table is part of the sponsorship. So I don't really have like.
Fuck, dude, just sell toys or something. It'd be like much easier on you, and I don't know. I'm obviously a little bit of like a party pooper, but I don't know. Like, Morph Market's been tough, right? But like,
yes,
Instagram sales, personal sales, people sales are much better. But if you don't have something people want, it's okay to, you know, move it along. In my opinion.
Leviathan here. What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in, Stephen and Courtney. Is a completely agreed question for both of you. Do you think it's possible to anticipate what the breeder market will want 2 to 3 seasons from now, or do you think that is like trying to time stocks? Oh man,
I think Darian can anticipate 2 or 3 seasons from now.
Do you really think that?
Because he can see what people are searching, and maybe
that's true.
And like the close rate, and we can see like the time on market, but since he can see the inquiry rate, so like, what is like the lace het clown inquiry rate? Who has saved that as a search post DG announcement, let's say? But like, to answer or try to answer the question, I don't think so, because if you think about how you feel about the market right now versus how you felt about it 3 years ago, could you have predicted what you think is going on now in the market now? I know we could all have predicted like double visuals, triple visuals, because we were already talking about that collectively then. But could we have predicted the DG crisis of 2023?
Oh God, the great.
Or could we predict, like,
in all honesty, like when I heard that the issues that were happening with it, I was sitting there. It's like, I have never heard of anybody doing a DG to DG and not getting a freaking DG out of it. Like, I never heard of it. So I was shocked. I was like, well, this sounds like a whole line of crap. But
well, I mean, the pictures have come out since then of people doing that and getting stuff that they're like, I sold it as a DG, but it looks like Dookie. Right? And so, like, is that a normal? So, like, that all like makes way more sense now. I think the hard part is like, what if you bought a double het DG, some other very expensive recessive, and you get your pair is just B or something. Like they're just het B, so they will never make DG. Are you mad? Are we going to do something about that collectively? That's like the only problem. Obviously, people who are breeding het DG to visual DG will make some visual DGs. It's just the people who bought into high-end hets that could get hosed after the announcement.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That aspect would really suck. Now, I know I'm hoping that they can kind of iron some of this stuff out with what is it, the 2 free shed tests that they're giving you if you applied during their like 1 week time, or that 1 week time frame. I think it was something like that. Anyway, all I know is I got my ass in on it, and I've got my 2 sheds. I actually have to send those in. I've got some other sheds I have to send to them too as well.
Yeah, hopefully they find C. Let's put it that way. All right. Do you think that you can anticipate the breeder market's demands in 2 to 3 years from now?
I cannot anticipate it. I just hope the hell it goes to Exanthic.
I think Exanthic will always be defeated by the fact that it has multiple lines, because you're always diluting the number of people who are interested in your project by default.
Yes.
It's the same problem as like our double visual, triple projects. Like, how many people want your lavender hypo paint triple hets? Some people, but not everybody. So like it's almost like while we've like stabilized the price, we've also dropped the high end, because not everybody wants everybody's best version of each project.
Yes.
So they might not all be $25,000 visuals or whatever, because we all don't want each of those parts to work with. It'll be fun. Let's put it that way.
The future will be interesting. Like I said, I just hope that. I think the big thing is that the whole market. Lexi, what's up, sweetie? Thanks for tuning in. That's my niece. It's always great to see her in the chat.
Oh my God, how old is she? I've said bad words.
Oh God, well, she's got me as an uncle.
Okay, good. Lexi, get off. We don't know what's gonna happen.
Run for the hills, Lex. I'm gonna really screw this up, but I think she's like 12 or no, she's 13.
Get out of here! What are you doing? Go to church or something.
She was in the chat when I had Billy from Mutation Creation.
Oh God!
I think she sat through the majority of that one.
All right, I love you. 13. Dang. All right, I'll try to be on my best behavior.
Like I said, she's got me as an uncle. I'm sure she's, I'm sure I've let it slip a few times here and there.
All right.
Paul, what's up, dude? Thanks for tuning in. But no, what I was gonna say is, who can predict what someone's gonna produce that one season that's going to completely wow the industry in the hobby and get everybody to switch to a different and just get them to switch into a different gear. I mean, the thing about how many times has Justin produced something that wowed all of us, and just about everybody that chases Justin's coattails, went and changed how they were running their pairings for the next season or whatever to try to chase that animal.
See, like, I don't think he's done that as much as people think he's done that.
You don't think? See, I think
he's done it a lot, but like I couldn't find a statistical significance in the price of Red Stripe pre and post the Pompeii reveal video, for example. So he obviously made people want it more than not at all.
Yes.
But people obviously do chase him, but it's almost like you should be doing anti-Justin moves, not post-Justin moves. So whatever the opposite of what Justin's doing, because you'll know too many people will be in that project dragging it down afterwards. So whatever Justin's not doing, when he zigs, you zag. So I don't know how many more like profoundly new things he can find that no one else can find, especially if there's enough people zagging while he's zigging. that I don't know. That's my thoughts on that right now.
See, I always think
I'm not a ball python breeder, though. I breed corn snakes. Don't fucking listen to me.
I always think if everybody just goes their own direction, blazes their own trail, follows their own passion, you're going to have that much more of a variety of stuff out there that I don't think the market won't get flooded as quickly with it. You'll get flooded, yes, with some of the byproducts, but I think
yes.
I mean, I guess the Batman's a good example, and I'm trying to produce Batman's next year. This 24 season, I'm going to hopefully maybe produce Batman, but I'm going in the Xanthic direction with it. I don't want to. I want to take color out of everything.
I think that's fine. But I don't know anybody's like, I need to make a Batman, like just a Batman anymore, because it's been since 2017.
It's been a while.
So of course they're $800 or whatever they are now. Like, it's fine. It's a 2-gene clown combo.
Steven here, he's on the DG topic. If a new breeder is asking your opinion, would you recommend DG or lace? Why would you recommend it, and why wouldn't you recommend the other? I would say, I still like DG. Yes, there's the new information makes it how we work it a little bit different, but we've been producing DGs for how long now, not knowing this new information. So I think it's more of on rare occurrence, it's not going to work in your favor. Or like Jessica said, it's maybe the het-to-hets might be where you run into the issue more than anything. But I just got into the lace project over at the Gettysburg show. That video is to be released yet here. But the white lace is very comparable to DG. It looks really nice. I think DG still holds better blacks. So I think it's kind of whatever. Each gene's got its own projects where it's going to shine more than the other, is my thought. How about you, Jessica?
I think if I was telling a new breeder, I would absolutely tell them lace. I have DG. I like DG. It's fine. But it's not like my favorite anyway. And I think it was overpriced to begin with. Because the disparity between female and male price was way out of whack. Because people were trying to make double hets with females, right? But now we know that double hets may not be as effective of a way to do it. So they weren't really trying to make DG combos. They were trying to make DG clown, DG pipe, DG puzzle, DG tri-stripe. The lace looks pretty good. Sometimes better, the white lace, than DG. So from like a market perspective, the simplicity of what's going on there is better to me. And I know people are like, it's going to make it cheaper because it's incomplete dominant, but if you can't be sure your het DG is actually a het without testing it, then that's a negative. Last time I checked.
That's true. But then also look at like genes like acid and confusion and was it static? I think I'm missing one.
Migraine.
What's that?
Migraine.
Okay, migraine. Like, look at the prices on them. They were astronomical for being a dominant gene.
Yeah, because they're like pretty compelling and useful. They're down now around like $500 for like a single.
I see.
Copy.
They dropped big time, which that was I was just getting into acid this year, so I was seeing that the price dropped like it did. I was like, crying out loud.
Yeah, but like the hard part is like to contextualize what you think the prices are doing versus what they were doing before you knew or paid attention, right?
That's true.
So most people are like, whatever. Back to 2018 it is. We're like a single gene adult female breeder, $75 to $100 for local pickup. Like that was quite normal. That's what it is now. Unless it's like a prestige gene or a newer gene. And if you can't find a margin in that market, you either need to like upgrade clearly or pick a species that isn't as volatile.
Yes.
You know?
Which I think we can cover that as well, just kind of diversifying your collection, which I think is a very important thing.
Oh,
And
is it, Will? Migraine is cryptic. Never mind.
Oh, migraine's
cryptic. Corrected.
Okay, maybe it is just the 3 of them then. Massive fusion, static. Maybe it's just the 3. I thought there was a 4th, but maybe I'm wrong. Jason, what's up, dude? Thanks for tuning in. He wants to know how are my carpets doing. Dude, they are doing fantastic. All of them are eating except for one freaking SOB, and like he's got an attitude. So I'm kind of at a loss. I don't understand why he's so pissy, but he doesn't want to eat. He's got a little bit of an attitude, but everybody else is eating. So for the most part, everybody's good to go to their new homes. There is one for sale yet, everybody. One beautiful male that I was going to hold back up until I found out that, because I thought it was a female, and then I popped it again and peens came out. It's like, nope, you're done. So there is one male left. If anybody's interested, hit me up on Instagram, because I don't have it posted on Morph Market yet, because that one actually did just take its first meal this week. So I've got to get a couple more meals in it before I'm even ready to send it, but it's at least got its first meal done.
Full send.
What's that?
I'm making bad jokes about the internet. Why did you invite me on? This was a mistake.
No, this was a good, like, I have been wanting to get you and Jana both on for a while, and I finally got. It's like, you know what? It's like, all right, I'm just gonna do it, because I was honestly afraid that you'd be like, well, we do our own, like, you know, with everything you guys do with your cast. I was afraid maybe you didn't have time. I didn't know what your personal schedule and
I have no life. I'm a very boring person.
Jessica, I don't think you're bored. Come on now.
No, I don't know. I obviously like hearing my own voice, so I'm always willing to chill on other people's podcasts. And I think recontextualizing the host in a different setting, you know, you get a different side, because I don't have to be in charge of the buttons, so I can say whatever weird stuff I want.
When that's what I do, like, I've, you know, the few times I've been a guest on other people's shows, like, it's just nice to sit back, relax. You don't have to remember anything. You just sit there, answer questions, bullshit, and just have a good time, because you're along for the ride.
It's basically liberating, honestly.
It is. Yes, it really is.
I'm just surprised anybody wants to hear anything else about what I talk about, because I've already talked for 80 billion episodes as it is. But there's always something new that someone else can ask you that you didn't know, but they want
exactly. Or maybe someone missed an episode or just found out about you and hasn't gone back and watched every. You know, there's all sorts of situations that can pop up there.
Yeah.
So, with that, tell us about biosecurity, your process for biosecurity, and then also, if I do recall, you've got. Forget the name of it, but you've got a testing facility that has given you a code, so make sure you share that as well for everybody.
So it's vetdna.com, which is RAL, Research Associates Laboratory. They're in Allen, Texas. And the owner's my friend. It's very helpful. He'll be like, oh, you have a problem and it's in the literature. I'll just design a test for you real quick. Here you go, turtle community. And they're reasonably priced and accurate and good for breeders who have like a large volume of tests they need to do annually or on intake or whatever. So vetdna.com. Our code is shit happens for the crypto panel, which is tested with feces. So, and that's $5 off. What a bounty. I made up
how much
code,
does that normally cost?
$25. So it's $20.
Not bad at all, then.
Yeah, and crypto sucks. So we definitely need to test the dickens out of them. All so biosecurity is like a big topic. Definitely talked about it a lot. But so the I don't know how much you want this, but like the answer is like you You pick your
Just
species.
We've got. I can go on this show until 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock is when the finish. The answer is like you look at your species, whatever your species is. You look at what is a common disease for it in the hobby. And then you look and see if a test is commercially available. So once you do those things, then you'll know what you need to do for your species. Not every species needs all the same tests. And not every species needs the same like testing interval.
Okay.
Is that vague enough for you? So like for me, boas get tested more than ball pythons. And then both of those categories get tested even more than corn snakes. So like that's the relative risk level sort of hierarchy. It also has to do with like how expensive those animals are, which maybe sounds mean, but that's like a practical consideration. But for almost everything, you should try to test at least once when you get it into quarantine, and you have to quarantine because tests aren't perfect, right? And maybe test it again when it leaves quarantine, and then maybe consider some sort of repeated testing protocol based on either age class or reproduction events, or you're getting ready to sell it and it costs $10,000 and you want to like cover your ass before it goes out the door. That would be a good reason to retest. Somebody shows a symptom of whatever hypothetical disease you're interested in. Or you just want to double check. So like a repeated protocol. And then like between animal, sanitation strategies. So you're not cross-contaminating things that you did not already detect or do not know how to detect. So you don't let your boas and your ball pythons have a play date on your bedspread on your bed and take a picture on Instagram and show everybody that you're an embarrassment to society. You should be probably euthanized. Don't do that. Don't do that. If you're going to use some sort of like shared surface, like a exercise tower or playpen or whatever, you sanitize between, basic sort of sanitary measures that would eliminate viruses or protozoa or bacteria or whatever between animals. And that can go so far as to include like wearing gloves every time you open a particular animal's tub and go to the next one and the next one. Doesn't have to, but that can be something you do.
Okay.
And I don't do gloves with every class of animal I have every time. So some people are like, well, you're psycho, right? This is true, but for other reasons, not for the glove reason. I do it for the ones that hide their diseases the best, or where like the risk of them hurting each other is higher. So it takes like 5 to 6 years to grow up a female boa, right?
Yep.
So if you cross-contaminate a bunch of 2 and 3-year-old female boas that are almost ready to breed a couple of years, you're gonna be pissed. I know that sounds like harsh. So like they deserve more careful treatment. And then obviously you could do gloves for everybody, but like not necessarily like do it for like a cohort of corn snakes that goes to and from the show. They're their own cohort. They're cleaned and maintenanced at the same time. I don't do it between them because if they pick up something weird at the show, I don't know. Bless their hearts, but they were my show stock. Godspeed, little buddies. So I'm like willing to make concessions or whatever. So I'm not as psycho as I seem, but I'm much more psycho than other people. So
now, what's the likelihood that, or you test when it's in quarantine, test comes back negative for whatever you're testing for?
Mm-hmm.
What's the likelihood that whatever you were testing for would possibly pop up later on if you would test it, say, 2 or 3 years down the road? Like, can some diseases like that hide even through the testing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's so messed up.
Yeah, but you capture a lot by testing the first time. So I can't tell you with any sort of accuracy what the percent of like false negatives there are for whatever reason. But there are some. So that's why you have to be like double checking sometimes and staying clean so that like if it happens to be positive 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 years later, you didn't like spread it all around anyway because you thought it was good. So that's just like the like two-pronged management strategy. Some testing, because some of them like blow up a test right when you get them. Like it's super obvious that they have arenavirus, and you're like, damn, not going anywhere near my snake collection. Bye. And so you don't even need to like worry about it. And some of them don't. But you have to just like, if you're not testing, you're already living with tremendous risk anyway. So like the cost of the doing the test and then not being 100% certain is much less risky than just, guessing for your whole life that you're not cross-contaminating right now as we speak. And this is something like people struggle with it. They're like, well, my snakes seem fine. Okay, cool. Good for you. You still don't know anything. They seem fine. That's what you know.
Yes. All right. Now this, because I'm guilty of this, and Janet and I had talked about this. I forget what it was. Anyway,
last fall or something, or last winter. It was a long time ago.
It might have been. I'm trying to think. It's probably the winter time. But with water bowls, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had to do the deli cups. I go wash them out, everything, dry them out because I'm a cheap ass, and I try not to waste anything that I don't have to waste. And then, next time it's time to change the water bowls out, I just reuse those water bowls. What would be the proper way to do it where you could still save the bowls and not waste them, or is really the safest way to be like junk it?
Yeah, you can save it. Like envelope viruses. So what makes nidovirus, arenavirus, paramyxovirus, sunshine virus are really weak, actually. Like they're easy to defeat. So just soap is going to rip up those lipid bilayers right away. Hot water ruins them, wrecks their life. It's just like people will do the thing where they'll like put their thumb in the dirty water while picking up the deli, dump it, and then put their thumb in the new water and then give that to somebody else. But their thumb is like a contamination risk of like fresh dribble from the snake's mouth. So yes. I don't think you have a problem reusing your delis. I reuse 9 delis. I just throw them in the dishwasher on sanitize. And my husband loves that. But it gets hot in there. The thing is, like, crypto isn't defeated by those things that I just mentioned. But crypto can be washed away, the oocysts. So I'm not, an expert, but I want to believe that most crypto oocysts are physically washed away by the process of washing when there's a lot of water. If you add a sunshine session in there, you'll be set or more set.
Well, see, that makes me feel good that I'm not, because I was afraid, because I had joked with Janet about it. I was like, yeah, Jessica would probably just freaking flip shit on me if she.
No, okay. Let me make it more clear. I don't reuse BOA cups. I throw them away because I don't want the dirty spit cup in my sink. If that makes any sense. Yeah. But the ball python ones go to the dishwasher in the house, not in the Snake Shack sink. Get washed in the house. So they have their own stream, and they all go back just to ball pythons. If that makes any sense.
No, it does.
And usually the corn snakes, they have their own set, but they're all getting washed. So I feel pretty secure about the washing process. But you just don't want there to be a way that you're touching spittle or blood or mucosa of any kind and then touching someone else relatively recent after that if you're worried about an enveloped virus that causes disease. Stupid crypto is way worse though, so because it could be trace amounts of dust poop could do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now here's if with Nido, if someone has had Nido in the future, in the past.
Whoa, we're traveling through time. This is awesome. Let's go.
If someone has had Nido in the past
Mm-hmm.
and it went through, did its purge of everything, now the animals that they may be producing in the future, are they possible carriers for the Nido, or will the Nido wiping out what it wipes out basically end that, and that's kind of where that ball stops? If that question makes any sense.
Yeah, so Nido is not vertically transmissible. So a mother cannot pass it to her offspring through the egg, like in the case of a ball python. So a Nido positive mother can breed and have Nido negative babies. But if the owner thinks that all of the bad ones have died and now they're just like cleaning tubs and doing stupid pictures on their bedspread again, they could be cross-contaminating like asymptomatic carrier adults that are just like pretty good at dealing with Nido and don't show symptoms and also don't die to babies that shouldn't have had it to begin with because they thought all the bad ones died. Most Nido snakes don't die. They're fine. They just get a little like seasonal wheeze and they're like, maybe they get worse if they have some sort of issue like they're breeding or they have some other secondary infection and that's when they like tip the scales. A lot of them look fine. And so maybe they should not be euthanized, but they shouldn't be on your bedspread. You know what I mean?
That was one, because I know a carpet python breeder that had Nido basically wipe out his whole entire collection. And I can't imagine that to begin with. Like, that would just suck, no matter what you were breeding. But it kind of made me think, it's like, all right, well, now that the Nido did its thing and it's what's dead is dead and it's a done deal, it's like, are they now technically clean of it, or is that something where you need to be very skeptical? And
we don't know of any snake who was officially Nido positive that cleared the infection. They're always infected forever.
Okay,
this isn't true for every kind of virus in the world. Like, you can get a cold, you can win, and you're no longer transmitting the cold virus anymore, and it's not living in your body anywhere. But for right this second, we do not know of a snake that got nidovirus, and we know it had it, that it cleared it, even if it was fine for 5-10 years. It still has it and is potentially transmitting it to a snake that wouldn't be fine if they got it. So I would never buy a snake from somebody who had it go through the collection, everything else was fine, and now they're doing the bedspread thing again.
Okay.
They need to either like this is the old collection building and this is the baby building, and never the nary two shall meet. And then you can buy babies from them without them ever testing, because whatever's in there didn't get in the babies.
Separated, yeah.
Problem with carpets is sunshine virus, which is vertically transmissible. So I would also demand a sunshine virus test in a baby if I were to buy a carpet at this moment in time.
Okay.
So
now what's sunshine virus? Because I've never heard of that.
So it was discovered off the Sunshine Coast of Australia. That's why it has such a happy name. But it's terrible.
Which is why you made the point directly towards the carpet.
Yeah, so it's an endemic carpet virus. And it probably is in Papua New Guinea area too. So in those carpets as well, because it seems to predate the split from the sea level rise. But it seems to cause neurosymptoms like IBD does in boas. And carpets are probably pretty good at having it, but carpets vertically transmit it. So when it gets into ball pythons, they can probably vertically transmit it to their babies. So you don't have like the cool like Nido trick where it's like, I don't need to test the adults, just keep the babies over here. Sunshine's worse. It just appears to be less common in the US than Nido currently because there are less carpets in the US.
Yes.
Right? So you don't see it as much, but we do see it. So if I was you, I would be also concerned about sunshine virus jumping from my carpets to my ball pythons, not just arena virus from the boas to the ball pythons. Both would be
now
bad.
I got a whole nother thing to be worried about now.
Fuck!
Damn it.
I
Why
ruined
did I
it.
bring you on,
Oh,
Jessica?
God.
I was living in this happy bubble. And now it's falling down around me, damn it.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I've never seen someone show me a positive sunshine virus. I last to see people's deeds all the time, right? I'm always like looking at their skirt, check it out. But I know it exists, right?
Okay. Yeah.
We have
there. He goes. Kike's probably thinking, Jeremy, you better test that shit now, because Kike's getting one of the baby carpets.
Jeremy, I'm sure yours are fine. I'm just telling you what I am personally paranoid of. And if you want to like watch the Australians do it, there's like a couple of cool YouTube videos where they're like swabbing like their carpet's mouth, and then they go to their cloaca. They're into like mouth to ass stuff hard. Australians are. You don't actually need a cloacal swab too, but they like to do both, right? And then they swab like the outside of the cages because they had problems with like people touching something and then touching the outside, and someone else comes along and touches the outside and touches their snake. So they were transmitting it that way. Shane says he fed his boas double today. Get out of here. Less food.
Kike says he lives in the Sunshine State. So.
Oh, you're fucked. Run, brother. That's what's wrong with Florida.
Florida.
No, and then I don't want to like make you paranoid either, but there's things that we don't think about, and we need to start thinking about them. Because what if the people who are like, man, I got nidovirus. What if they don't ever test? A bunch of stuff dies, and then like, what if it was sunshine the whole time and it came in off of a farmed popwin and it got in their diamonds? Now all the diamonds are gone. Like, how do we keep Australia going if we're ignoring Australia facts? That's what I'm saying. What's up, William?
See, I love listening to Jessica. She really needs to have Justin Julander on her podcast.
Does he hate me, though? I don't know. It's hard to tell what team everybody's on. I'll invite him on.
He's a virologist. That's a tongue twister for my idiot ass. I just think it would be interesting talk between these two. I think it would be too as well.
Hopefully. Yeah. I'll do whatever. I'll do what it takes. I just don't want people to experience what I experienced. And I know people are like, well, it's been fine. Well, my collection was fine too until it wasn't. Yeah. And I quarantined for a year. So like that didn't really matter, did it? That I quarantined for a year.
I was gonna say, like, it's also probably another reason why I'm very selective with who I buy stuff from. Like, I really don't branch out from certain people. Like, I try to find what I need to find in my small group. And then if I can't find it there, then it's like, okay, maybe I need to, go out here and try to find it someplace else. But it's really hard to do it, though.
It is hard. It's hard to like put a project together correctly if you're being paranoid, which is part of my problem in general. It's like I'll try to buy stuff and then be like, well, I'm not going to sell to you because you want to test it probably. I'm like, okay. That was a great transaction. I tried to give you money and you just told me no. So I know what you want in your life. That's okay. That's how you get into corn snakes and you just lose your mind.
That's actually the next thing I wanted to cover was corn snakes. So what about corn snakes drew you to them?
They're the perfect snake.
All right, do tell.
Everybody should have 10 corn snakes minimum.
All from Hare Hollow Farm.
Or anybody. Okay, so here's the perfect snake is any snake that you have a vision for, right? You have a project. It could be part morph, part selective breeding, part locality and morph. any of those things. But you also have like a vision, for conformation, for color, for tameness, for willingness to get on a frozen thawed, willingness to get on rats. And you have all these, like, you're a breeder. You're aspiring to like make to better the species you're working with. Okay? So that's like ideal. So it doesn't matter the species conceptually that you lock into that. But species are better at filling that role if they have a lot of the following properties: a lot of localities, a lot of polygenic variation, and a lot of morphs. And hopefully like a robust like pet market to absorb all of the bullshit byproduct that you're going to make going after your dream snake, whatever that is. And they have to be worth something to someone. So if they're really awesome but nobody wants them, you can't breed a ton of them like working on your project, because who's going to take and want these things that cost $10 or whatever? You would have to advocate so hard for your species. So there's lots of species that I think fit this role, but the benefit of corn snakes specifically is that they don't get huge. So you can have a lot of them and really like hone in on multiple selective breeding projects or locality selective breeding projects and like execute the vision. Like, this is what I want to do with boas, but it takes a long time for them to get to breeding size, and you can't have enough necessarily to work as many projects as you might want to their natural completion. And ball pythons, obviously lots of morphs, but there's literally zero respect for conformation or polygenic variation. Like, it doesn't matter. So they don't respect that process. And then we get to corn snakes, right?
I like the way you say that. And then we get to corn snakes.
Yeah, at least it's right. Some people just want like to maintain the wild thing and not make a project out of it.
Yes.
But I want projects. That's what gets me up in the morning, right? Is seeing small variations over generations that are like compounding to make something, I don't know, better is a dumb word because they're all fine animals as it is, but
unique.
Yeah, or like why else would we do it if we all thought that they looked close enough to be the same? Yeah. A lot of the satisfaction is like you're sort of molding something new or unique out of a vision you saw in another animal. And you have all the lineage and all the progression of the phenotype. It's hot. What's up, Eric? So that's why I like corn snakes.
Now, I guess I never pictured corn, like, I never knew corn snakes really had localities.
Yeah, and they live where...
I may sound like a complete freaking idiot by saying this, but I just thought, like, when I think of localities, I think like carpets, green trees. Obviously there's boas. King snakes. I guess you would consider locality stuff. I just always thought a corn snake was a corn snake. So
right. That's like a messaging failure on the like old time colubrid breeders to like the new. They were just like, oh, we'll just like morph the shit out of everything, sell it for $50 to a pet store, and it won't matter, like the context of it. But there are people keeping stuff going, like, Devil's Garden Aneries. So it's a locality and a morph, or pure Sherman line Okatee Hunt Club that aren't crossed with anything else, or Red Zeps, which are albino pure Okatees, or Alabama corns, or all the different like permutations and localities. So people are like, I have Dixie County F2s or whatever. You can do whatever you want because we live where they live. So the whole like sea of where it's legal to collect anyway, potential corn phenotypes, localities, and sort of land race morphs is available to us easily, and we can work on it and advocate for how this one is cool and that one's cool. And they're just way cooler than most people give them credit for, because we all forgot that they're cool.
See, I like. How can I put this? All right, like Nathan from Infinite Possible Pythons. He's actually I think the first person the first experience I've really had like up close with actual like holding corn snakes. The scaleless corn snakes. Scaleless snakes freak me the hell out. Completely freak me the hell out. Like I don't know why they just freak me out.
Mm-hmm.
Snakes are supposed to be scaly, but the corn snakes they may be scaleless on their upper 3/4 of their body, but the fact that they have belly scales, I think, is very unique and badass because they're technically not fully scaleless. So at least, like, I don't know, like
they're not my favorite. I'm not going to make fun of your sponsor, but you know, I like animals that look like mostly like the animal they're supposed to look like. So I don't like scaleless particularly that much. I think it's fine. A lot of like pet people like them, so like for that reason. But to me, that's like, I don't know. I'm just a snob, right? I want a snake that's face looks like a snake face, like their little lips are all sunken in, and
yeah,
they are like quite viable, and they lay eggs. You know, that's good, great. So they're good. They're not within my taste wheelhouse. You know.
Now, what are some of the morphs and localities and stuff that you're working with personally?
So I really like Miami everything. So Miami is like a silver or gray base color, and the saddles are orange or red. So it's like it looks like a gray band king snake, but on a corn body, basically. So it's not picky like a. And at this point, Miami isn't really a locality. My animals aren't. They're just like the phenotype Miami. So they're like a hobby version of that name. But like selective breeding that and then comboing that, because actually like taking the selective bred phenotype and putting morphs, something Walter Smith did really well, and maybe like for the first time. So if you make a Miami Sunkissed or a Miami like honey, they actually can look wildly different than a honey that doesn't have all that selective breeding put into it, and that's like its own thing. Like it's basically like a whole new morph constructed out of a little bit of like judicious breeding. And we used to do that a lot. Like we made Sunglows, which is like a low white albino, and we made like Crimsons and better Miami. So we sort of like collectively gave up. I mean, some people were still going on, but once people moved to ball pythons, like a lot of the projects got lost. Like how many people can make heliconias every year? I don't know. 2. How many people make specters every year? None. 1. Like I don't even know. Like that's how like rare and weird. So if you're like, oh, this whatever, like a rare species that you need to import from Europe just to get one. Like there's literally like dying lines of corn snakes, king snakes, like our native stuff that we were making in the country right now that aren't being preserved because we forgot to like them, even though they're still cool. We just need to be told that they're cool.
You just need to be reminded that they're there.
And find the old guy who has some in his basement still and like punch him and take him. Right. Get him out.
Like I think it's fun. Like there's not, and from what I've noticed, anyway, there's not a whole lot of people that work with corn snakes either, which is kind of baffling.
Like regional, because like you'll find like a no offense old person somewhere who's like, I just like corn snakes from before, so I just still have some corn snakes. There's not a lot of people like getting into them new and being like, I'm gonna take over the corn snake market, but they do exist. I think the hard part is like, since people think a corn snake is something that's like immediately wholesaled and has low value and shouldn't be like selected upon, it's very hard to convince a buyer like, hey, they're like, why is this Miami 150 and this Miami's 100? And I'm like, because I'm telling you, this one will be more saturated red beautiful when it grows up with a more beautiful silvery base and bigger, juicier black borders. And they're like, what? It's worm. I don't understand. Like, it's very hard to communicate So like just like with ball pythons, where we can communicate value by being like, this is double head this, and you can make these combos, and it's got these two visual incomplete dominants that are really cool and like work great with your projects. We have to teach people to look at a corn snake, both phenotypically and genotypically in terms of like mutations, and be like, okay, I have the selective breeding eye and the morph eye to know that this is like a quality example of that type. So it's not wholesale fodder. This one deserves to be $200. Like I spent $600 on a Miami Tessera last year, male, like basically a normal with just the Tessera mutation, not because of Tessera, but because it was nice. Like it's meaningful to buy things that are just nicer, because that sort of incremental change makes your project better in the end. And then when you start to see like the end result of like using your eyeball and selective breeding, it can be literally transformative, like more than like a point mutation would do. But we're struggling on like the communication front and like the advocacy front for horn snakes and king snakes and a lot of our native snakes. Like you almost need a champion of each species to convince people they're cool enough to get into. Yeah. So like carpets need a champion. Like if NPR stopped existing tomorrow, what would happen to the entire carpet population of the US? It wouldn't just disappear overnight. A lot of people wouldn't be getting into the new because there wouldn't be somebody actively advocating for that type of animal.
And that's like I never realized either, basically, that there's line breeding involved with corns either.
Oh my God. It's like most of it at this point, because we don't get too many mutations. Like we just got an almost all black one in France. That's new. Ooh. Right? That's our IMG.
That's what I'm trying to do with my carpet project. I'm trying.
Eric, I'm gonna slap you when you come on there.
Like with the hatchling, with two of the hatchlings that I held back this year from the carpets, they were very minimal yellow, very sporadic patterns. They don't really have the nice banding that a normal jungle has. Mm-hmm. Very sporadic, in the yellow
areas. So you're
like
seeing the project forming in your mind.
Yes, and I looked at those animals, and I looked at that. Dad has like the most. How can, if you've ever looked at black velvet, that's the color of the blacks on the father of that clutch. His blacks are, you look at him and he looks like he should be soft and fuzzy, because the blacks are just very velvety. And I looked at those babies. I thought, wonder if it's possible to keep taking the baby, basically line breed that to try and keep picking out the babies that have less and less yellow, and eventually end up with an all black, all velvety black carpet python. Like that would be badass. Because I mean, Nick Button he line bred for the ivories, where he basically kept taking the lightest of the yellows till he got a black and white jungle.
You should be able to, but wouldn't you want to start like with a Papuan? Because they come out darker to begin with? Or is that blasphemy? What do you feel about Papuans?
And honestly, I really don't know a whole lot about Papuans. I'm not gonna lie. The jungles is what really caught my eye. Papuans, I think they get, I don't know, like,
or go get a diamond, pure diamond, and just make that darker. I'm changing your breeding project.
To a diamond. That would hurt.
No, don't make a hybrid. Just go buy a diamond, and go buy another diamond, and make them darker. Yes, I think anything can be done. I think there's some limitations. Like, I think some genes and some snakes are like mutually exclusive. Like you can never make all of a boa, that weird purple color. That's when the gray underneath is sort of revealed by hypo, because it doesn't seem to express in certain parts of the body. But you could have more of the purple on the lats. So like within whatever their physiology would allow, you could do it. Go for it. I just like projects, and ball pythons don't let you do that. Like I still look at ball pythons and be like, that was hot. That was like different. That was like a minor variation. It just doesn't matter. Like the market does not care or respect those differences. So you can like it internally, but it doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't, and that's ball pythons.
That's why ball pythons are boring.
I will tell. All right, everybody knows I do love my ball pythons. I will tell you, ball pythons are boring. Yes, you are 110% correct.
I have ball pythons and they're nice. I just mean like they're boring intellectually. Like, okay, yes. I'll put this morph with that morph and it'll be cool, but what I could bring to the project doesn't matter, right?
Well, see that, but then even just working with them, like you pick up a ball python, it basically just sits there. It might look around a little bit, but for the most part, it's the lights are on, but nobody's home. Like
I think some of them are better than like more outgoing or whatever. Like I have some like really personal ones, but I don't not like them. The only reason I don't like them is because their market doesn't support the thing I like the best about breeding animals, mostly, right? Which is my fault, I guess, for buying any to begin with.
Well,
what a bitch! My God,
I think within the industry, you almost need to dabble a little bit into the ball pythons, just because they are.
It's all Sean Bradley's fault.
It's all Sean Bradley.
So I listened to ball shit in 2019. So he wasn't even in ball pythons at that point. And I'm like, oh yeah, ball pythons sound awesome. This based on his podcast, just the audio only version. So it's his fault. Fuck you, Sean. I'm kidding. I like ball pythons. I just can't wait until the day where all ball pythons cost $200 and we can start to look at them for more properties than just like the age of the gene in the market or the perception of the gene. We can start looking at eye size, head shape, body size, and like, is it a shitty feeder? You know, like all of those things should come into play. And selective breeding for polygenics. Because there's, if you look at it, big polygenic differences if you want to see it in your snakes.
See, I just like for carpets, for instance, compared to balls, when you interact with it, like
it's more like
the carpets. There's a process, like it's thinking.
Are you gonna get out of balls? Reduce balls?
What's that?
Are you gonna get out of balls?
I love my Xanthic stuff too much. I could never get out of it, but I will say this, that part of the reason for me going to be doing my room expansion, because this over there on the other side of the windows there, that was originally supposed to be the man cave, because I was told one of the kids will eventually kick me out of my man cave and I was going to have to relocate it. So I thought, well, I'll put the man cave on the other side of the snake room. But now I'm going to knock down this wall and expand the snake room. And those guys are basically the exact reason why for some of these decisions, just because they're more rewarding. They take up more space, yeah, which is a slight downfall.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel as though the market is stronger for them because there's not as many people working with them.
Yeah. The hard part with them, though, is like one too many clutches in the whole country like spoils the pot, sort of.
It could, yeah. I can.
Like, this is a problem with like all rare snakes. Like, I have a waiting list for Japanese rat snakes this year, and I'm like, I should breed 30. Wrong answer. The answer is always like to have the supply controlled with the demand as best as you can, because I don't know, what year was it that like Eric was like, I still have brittle eye from like 2 years ago. I just won't pair this year. Like, some carpets are harder to move than other ones. And you just got to make good decisions about like when to pair, when not to pair, which is fine because you're just like, they'll just take a break, right? They're carpets. Not a problem.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where like, it's like, I guess for how a lot of people treated the ball python market at this point, you know, if you're not okay with holding back, if you're not okay with being stuck with everything, just slow down and kind of let everything die out a little bit, and try again the next season, basically.
Yeah. So like this year, I paired some things that I wanted, and some things I just wasn't feeding that much. And I was just like, if you go on this much food, then you really wanted to. You know what I mean? So like I didn't force the issue myself. I was just like, whoever wants to go the most on a, every 2 week small instead of like every 2 week medium or whatever was floating around the room at the time. Yeah. That's what went. I know a lot of people are like, I'm going to do the exact same breeding schedule I always do. Well, good luck. 38,000 ball pythons still on Morgan. Godspeed, buddy.
that is like the hardest. Like, it's funny, you look at the ball python number, and then you click on the carpet pythons, and you see how very little of a selection you have. And then you go to the green tree, because I love green trees as well, and you've got like, God, maybe 30 freaking snakes to choose from throughout all the freaking localities total. It's just
green trees would be a great one to get into if you could like perfect green teas, like be a Bill Stiegel or something.
If you could perfect the breeding process on them, because I hear it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, so and like getting them started, it's like those high dollar, aesthetically pleasing, and so it's like always high value animals would always be fairly satisfying to keep and breed, because like the margin's always there and they're hard, so it's difficult, but you like can succeed and you can still selectively breed. So carpet would be like, or chondro would be like a fine like platform species to work on. Yeah. And carpets do too. I think carpets like, I don't know. They need like a super advocate also. I don't know who that should be. Maybe you. I nominate you for super carpet advocate. That means all content carpet, all Instagram pictures carpet.
In all honesty, I have noticed though, the best working videos and shorts on my channel are the carpet stuff. Like I've got a short that I've made it probably 6 months ago or so, and it's still like number one out of all my videos per day, or per 20.
I think if we could like perfect the like selling of an ugly brown baby to adult process, like I've seen people like have like Xerox pictures of the parents and stuff. Like if you had like big screens or something that were like panning through like at a show. Yeah. There's a reason why my Instagram is mostly like corn snakes and Asian rat snakes. It's because, they sort of need the advocacy more. And because they do better. Like a dumb pet person's like, oh, it's red and white. I love it. Heart. But if I show my brown ball python, they're like, whatever. I don't care.
That's the other thing that it's like a love-hate. When a baby ball python hatches, that's the best that snake's ever going to really look.
Yeah.
No matter what genetics you really throw into it, for the most part, that's the best that snake's ever going to look. And that's where I think the carpet shine, because when that baby hatches, that's the worst that sucker's ever going to look.
Right. It's just a matter of like figuring out how to compel the sale through marketing of how the adults look. And I think I've seen some people do a great job. Like they'll even have like a 1-year-old in a deli, and then a 2-year-old in their tower, and then a 3-year-old jungle, like their breeder. I just don't want to bring my breeder to a show to get like skank on them. Ugh. So like
that's
you would want like a decoy male or something who really isn't your breeder male, but like looks similar, like a backup. Really, I don't know. That's my dream.
See, that's what Mike Curtin from Scattershot Exotics does. He's basically carpet pythons. He does some rhino rat snakes and crebos and some other stuff. But he's always got a tower there with some beautiful adult carpets in there. And I mean, it was like Life's Cruel Joke, the one show. He was literally set up like on the other side of me. So I spent all day staring at this tower of freaking
You're being tortured.
And I was just like, oh my God, it's like, I went over there and he had one that I wanted for sale. It's like, no, I can't buy this stuff. I can't buy this shit today. It's like, I gotta sell. I can't take anything home today. But
Mhm.
like, you know, if you stand, you know, you see those beautiful black and yellow snakes. I mean, then you look at this baby that looks like crap. You know, crap. Everybody. Um,
It's a
and
problem. It's a
yeah.
problem. It's a problem for like corn snakes and rat snakes too. Like they go through a big ontogenic color change. They're their best as adults, pretty much universally.
Okay.
And they like look small and breakable. So people are like, fuck, what is this? I don't want something that's small. But it's all about like I think people don't understand like the juggernaut of like ball python marketing, and I think you understand that because like you get sucked in and there's all the YouTube and the videos and Patreons and whatever. So like that's the trajectory that people like fall into, but
Yeah.
there's more than that. Obviously, it's just like there's no like big carpet python industry blasting YouTube with carpet python facts that there
There's really
should
not.
be, right? What it's just like Riley's reptiles and
Yep.
the NPR stuff mostly.
Yeah, it's basically Riley.
Fuck.
Riley.
Or
NPR.
you're letting me down, Jeremy. Come on.
I mean, I try to do as much carpet stuff as I
Hurry
can.
up. What
I
are
do
you, where the market's I
the
don't know.
market's crashing
Yeah,
because
God,
of
hurry. Yeah, it's your fault. You're supposed to be holding it up. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No,
I'm just like super passionate about like everybody picking one weird fucking thing and making videos about it. I don't give a shit what it is. Natrix, whatever. Just listen, collared lizards. Like I don't care. But if everybody picks something, we can all like learn together instead of being like we all do the same fucking thing and pretend like it's cool. I don't know if it's cool.
It's nice that I think everybody should work with at least one other species.
God, hopefully.
Like I don't know how everybody can just do ball pythons or just do leopard cat. Like I think it's good to have that base. It's good to have that baseline.
Right, you need something like commercially viable.
Yeah,
right.
Like you need that bread and butter basically.
Right.
You need the bread and butter, but it's nice to have that side dish, whatever it may be, that really floats your boat, that catches the eyes, that when someone's scanning your table, they see that snake sitting there, and it makes them double back because it's like, wait, what the hell was that? Because that wasn't what everything else is. I think everybody needs to have something of that nature on their table, and
Hopefully.
yeah,
like that's my dream. Is like most people have something else, so they just have like a different perspective. There's a lot of people like blinders in terms of like husbandry decisions. Like they say stuff you're like, I don't know if you've ever set up a PVC enclosure based on your statements right now, like for any species.
yeah.
So like, yeah, spread your wings, little beautiful butterfly. Lisa asked if I have projects for Japanese rat snakes. So the problem is you can't tell how blue they are until they're adults, right? So the goal would be like a very high blue one. It's like perfectly sky blue. But there's two choices there, like a diffused pattern, not to be confused with the patternless mutation, and then like really as dark saddles as you can selectively breed. So it could be like black and blue or pure blue. These are my dreams. I'll let you know in 20 years when I'm done.
Now, how quickly do the Japanese rat snakes and even the corn snakes, how quickly are they ready to rock and roll for breeding?
For breeding. So corn snakes are weird. So like the rule, and we know animals don't follow rules. The rule is 333, 3 years, 3 feet, 300 grams. But that rule they break all the time by themselves, alone in their cage, where they produce 4 slugs at 200 grams because they just felt like it.
That's time. We're just gonna do something here.
Yeah, no brumation, no cycle feeding. They just wake up in the morning and be like, I'm gonna be a real girl. And so I've just taken to like palpating 18-month to 24-month-old females and just seeing if they're deciding to build follicles or not. I don't pair them on purpose, and I don't brumate them on purpose, and I don't breed them on purpose. But some of them do it anyway. And if you don't think that's ethical, I don't know what to say. It's easier to pass an egg than it is a slug. Let me put it that way. So if they're going to develop follicles anyway, I might as well breed them. But they will 100% do it below 300 grams.
Lisa says she blamed you for her new boa addiction. And she also wants to know if there's white Japanese rat snakes.
So there's an albino mutation in the hobby, which I have. But my problem is it's not white. It's yellow. So, like, it takes away melanin and what the iridophores or whatever that make blue. So it just leaves the xanthan left. So they have pattern as babies, but they turn like a solid sort of buttery yellow as adults, which is fine. But if you've just eliminated blue, the best color on a snake, the last time I checked. So it's not really like a breeding priority for me. They have a patternless mutation in either a hypo or a T+. The hypo or T+, I think, is restricted to just Japan, and the patternless mutation is in the US and Europe. I almost bought one this fall, but I was like, I don't know. Like, do you need patternless if they become almost patternless as an adult anyway? Like,
yeah, if they're going to end up basically becoming patternless at the end, it just seems like you just kind of skipped a step.
Yeah, and it's not like a super expensive. And I know they were selling double het patternless albinos. I'm like, wow, an even more uniform yellow snake. Like, that's like a worst. It's just we don't have very many morphs. Like, I think maybe like a patternless hypo would be good, because then it would they're just sort of like glowy. They do still turn blue-green, but I think most of the work is in selecting for blue, or there are certain ones that are almost like army green. So like camo colored. So if you have like a camo colored one with like really punchy, and you could like breed in the saddles back in, and it's like green, like army green and black, I think that'd be badass. Oh God.
Charlie wants to know, how common is that for corn females to just randomly drop slugs? Does he need to watch for that?
Yeah. I found two slugs in a 125 gram. Thought it was a male, but it was a female 2-year-old's cage one day. Tiny little not even existent slugs. You just want to make sure they pass them. I wouldn't breed a snake that size, but
it's a wonder that she's even laying slugs at that size then, because that's like half the.
They just know they're 2 years old and they're like, fuck it. I guess. Don't brumate them. Nobody tells you that. So like, don't ever pair before 3 years. Like, I believe you that you'll have better, outcomes if they're bigger when they lay for the first time. And some of my females don't do this weird laying slugs when they're 2 or whatever, but some of them do. And so I would just be aware of that. So like, that means potentially you're breeding snakes, in 18 months or 2 years, hypothetically, females. So that can make it quite fast. Don't fire me, anybody. I didn't want to do it. It happened to me.
Don't shoot the messenger.
Right. I sent the guy that I bought them from the picture of the slugs, and I'm like, you sold me this male. Wink. I wish I would have known. I would have conditioned her up so she was bigger.
Would have fed her a little bit different.
Right. She was just like a little wimpy, supposed to be like a pair of peens with some eyes glued to it. Like, it doesn't matter that they're small. No, it was a female all along. Joke's on me.
I kind of had the reverse thing. The carpet up there at the top, I bought that as a female. So it ate mice all of its life. I got him at a year old. It was, like I said, it was supposed to be a female. Finally got switched over to rats. He got up to the size where he was pounding medium rats, and I still thought it was a female at this point. tried pairing it.
What a scam.
Obviously, nothing was happening when I threw in another male to it.
Did they ever fight though?
No, actually they didn't. Like there was no fighting either, which really had me really freaking baffled for a while. And
did he pop or did he? I don't know. You know, did you ever like probe him? I guess you didn't. If you didn't know,
I didn't feel the need to because I thought with the carpet community being so small, that's just kind of assumed like you're selling a snake at a year old. You should you probably know what it is by having it after having it.
Oh, did they produce it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
to me, carpets get resold a ton. Like wholesalers, like the like vulture people that come around to people's tables afterwards. They're looking for weird stuff to put on their table, so they'll go attack the carpet person who had like a clutch of 26 and like, fuck, I don't think I can move 26 at this show myself, so I'll give it to they're almost always on like those scary guys tables. I've seen like one actual breeder of carpets in Oklahoma. Okay. What's going on? So I didn't know if you'd been a wholesaler.
No. It was an actual breeder, and nothing was going on. So finally, I thought, all right, it's kind of nearing that end point of the season, and I went and popped it, and I got sperm plugs. And I sat there and say, okay, now what's the likelihood that you could squeeze sperm out of a female if I just didn't witness the lock? So I was playing devil's advocate with that one, trying to tell myself everything was okay. And eventually I waited another couple of days. I removed the other male, did it again, and I got hemipenes. I was just like, son of a bitch. It's like, okay.
Tough.
Pulled out.
Do you have like a backup female, or are you waiting for something to grow
I didn't. That's that girl that's out. She's the one that gave me this year's clutch.
Okay.
So, but she's 3.5. So she was 3.5 then. So technically, they like to see females breeding at like 4 years of age minimum. I threw the ultrasound on her, and she had follicles at 17 mils.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, all right, the hell with this. We're just gonna kind of hit the ground running on this one, and we're gonna cross our fingers, hope for the best. She gave me 11 eggs. One of them went bad like 2 weeks into incubation. The rest of them hatched out and are just beautiful.
I think, especially with snakes that lay eggs, like a first small clutch isn't necessarily like ruining their life. Like it doesn't like affect their long-term viability or something. I think what people just want people to do is not like feed so aggressively that they've broken their snake to hope it gets to 2. But if you're feeding normally at a very moderate level, they're not obese, they're still choosing to ovulate, and they're by themselves. Laying an egg is better than laying a slug. It just is so much easier on the snake. So I would rather have a little clutch of eggs than a little clutch of slugs.
Yeah. And even with ball pythons, like, the industry standard is 1,500 grams and at least 2 years of age. Well, my one female, she had just hit 2. She was at 1,200 grams. What's 300 grams, so to speak, but through the ultrasound on her, and she's building follicles. So it's like, well, shit, we're just gonna give this a shot, see how it works. I got 4 nice eggs out of her, small clutch, but it's my first shot at it, Exantic clowns. So then
if you hadn't paired her, would she have reabsorbed and then gone on to make more? Yeah, maybe. I'm just not sure it matters in like the cosmic scheme of things. It can be a little bit more like debilitating with like live bearers or like certain geckos. Like if you pair them small, they can like have much worse problems. Like if you just waited 2 more months and bred your gecko at 1 year and like 10 grams heavier. But for these like snakes with like long follicular developments, it takes 6 fucking months anyway. I don't know. She could probably gain 500 grams in that time. Anyway, that's the same thing for
she actually laid. She was a little bit beyond, the 15. She looks freaking amazing now. But Lisa here says, do you think it's a product of captive breeding, or is it more to do with us just providing so much food in good conditions? I guess that's
think
what the corn
that's
snakes
about
going.
So I think I talked about this in the podcast, but there is a baby yellow or Everglades rat snake on iNaturalist that still has saddles, so they go through an ontogenic color change too. So it's like 18 months old, and you can see like clear eggs in it, and it's a wild caught animal they took a picture of. Super skinny.
And you can see eggs in it still?
Yeah,
Or
body. They took a picture of it, like herped it, and they're like, "Oh, I think it's a property of certain species of snakes that they are, willing to squeeze out any babies they can as soon as possible, even to the detriment of the mother if it's like a high mortality species. So like these little snakes, it's probably we are obviously like selective breeding that tendency to just be like, fuck it, I'll just breed a bunch. I'll double clutch and I'll breed right now, and so yeah, we're like breeding that in also. But I 100% think that a lot of these North American colubrids from hot places will breed whenever they want, basically. Which sounds crazy, but like, I don't know.
I mean, ball pythons, by all rights, technically they have a season.
Mm-hmm.
But,
in Africa, they do.
Yeah, in Africa. But here, in captive, they don't know what the hell a season is. Like, you can breed them all year long.
Yeah, like that decoupling with their sort of natural cycle is part of domestication in other animals. Like most predators usually won't ovulate in sometimes they'll ovulate in the spring and the fall, but our dogs definitely do. Sometimes they'll skip and just do spring, like wolves might do just spring ovulations. So there's like the tendency to want to reproduce more is something we've selected into our stock as part of domestication. Like goats, they're supposed to only ovulate in the fall and get bred like deer over the winter.
Okay.
Like just like a deer. And they're supposed to breed like their first winter. So as they're 6 or 9 months old, like a deer does also. So a doe usually gets bred her first winter if she's in enough condition. But the way goats are now, they almost breed at 3 months old. So you have to like separate them from their brothers while they're still weaning, unless you chop off them nuts. And they'll breed like they'll ovulate for like 9 months in a row. We make snakes and animals just by keeping them more fecund. So I don't want to like make people power feed because they think they need to achieve X breeding goal. But if they were fed a normal rate and they're wanting to reproduce, I'm not sure it's morally reprehensible to give them some semen demons, You just gotta lube them up. Just glaze them up, everybody. It's fine.
More Valley, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. Giovanni, what's up? Thanks for tuning in, dude. And Lindsay, thanks for tuning in tonight, girl. Lindsay was a guest earlier this year, so everybody go check that live out. That was great. Dove into her Mandarin project, so go check it out. Everybody, if you have any questions for Jessica, I should have said this in the beginning, but make sure you guys drop them in the chat. I will try to get to them as best as I can.
My favorite color is blue, by the way, so don't even ask.
I was like, what are you talking about, Jessica?
I cleared it up right away because that was the most controversial topic, I'm sure. I'm sorry.
Pressure pythons. I'm wondering, should I keep my juvenile gargoyle female away from my adult male until they are ready?
For me, yes, because they can die from like calcium shock, basically. That's my opinion, though. Don't keep gargoyles. My opinion doesn't count.
I know nothing about gargoyle geckos. But I do want to know something about these Japanese cave geckos that I think you have.
Mm-hmm. Very cute.
I was going to say, the pictures I saw of them, they're pretty badass looking little lizards.
Yeah, they're awesome. Sorry. I just want like a bunch of like weeb species. So I want a lot, as many of the Japanese species that are illegal to keep. Just so I can be like a super fucking nerd, whatever. Just make it happen. But I think the cave geckos, I like leopard geckos a lot conceptually, and I thought a lot about like if I was going to get something with legs and I was going to have to do some bugs, would I want New Caledonia or leopard geckos or caves? And I think I picked caves because I think they're like the best of both worlds. And I still like New Caledonia and I still like leopard geckos for serious. And they both have like different pros and cons. But
Yes.
like, the temperature of your house gecko that because it's kept cool doesn't have to eat very often and looks badass. Seems pretty easy to me. It's like fits easily into most people's lives. The worst part about them is they're not very handleable. So they're not a great pet, but they're more like a prestige thing that sits in your box. And you're like, that thing's badass. And you close the lid and you move on with your life.
Yep.
You can see them like come out and party like at night when you turn the lights down a little bit, but they don't want to look at you or you look at them.
I see, they don't want to be seen because when they're seen, that's when they get eaten.
Right. But like as like and I think they can be selectively bred the way leopard geckos have been selectively bred. Because when the leopard geckos came out of Iraq, they all look like shit. Okay. We have done that with selective breeding. So if, Boangs or Chinese caves or Japanese caves look pretty cool already, think of what we can do if we just apply some effort to, what if they were like way more black with like red, some of them are like striped or longitudinally striped with red stripes or more red or whatever. And sometimes the adult colors aren't quite what the baby colors are. So we can selectively breed to like have better adult color persistence also. Can't do that if you don't keep them.
Yeah, true.
And very few people keep them. If they do, they just have a trio and they just crank them out and they don't breed them selectively.
Are they hard to get a hold of? Because I've never, I don't really look deep at the geckos when I'm at a show. But
so they kind of are. The one that's the most common is the Chinese cave gecko, so Hyanensis. Like Josh's Frog sells them. They're sort of like they're like $100 ish. But all of the other species, and there's a ton, are basically like a couple come up on Morph Market every couple of months. So you have to like buy it when it's there. Or a couple come on Fauna every couple of months. And there's like a bunch of species, like full species separation. So like you wouldn't want hybrids or whatever, in my opinion. Very different looking, come from like very separate islands. So wouldn't mix them together or anything weird. But so you would want to have like Louis or like a Louis colony that you're breeding for Louis stuff.
Charlie's being a smart ass. I missed this one somehow. He said, if you were asked to fill a 94 cord with tennis balls, what are the first 2 steps you would take to begin the task? Freaking Charlie.
Call my husband and make him do it. Use coercion and not do it myself.
Oh, Charlie, thanks, bro. We needed that, man. We needed that. What are your thoughts on the market right now? Like the current market, it doesn't even have to be ball pythons because I know nothing about the corn snake market, but in general, the snake market.
Oh, God. So currently it looks like it's almost like anything that's not a ball python or a crested gecko. Prices are pretty stable. Like they're fine. Like not too many of them were made and not too many of them are continuing to be made. So they're fine. Corn snakes, not a ton extra were made, but there's like, they still sort of fall into a certain percent need to be like divvied out to pet people because most people aren't like, I'm going to buy any generic albino corn snake for a breeding project. I wouldn't buy like just any generic albino corn snake because I need it to have like certain selective breeding properties. So since there's enough like reptile industries in the world that are like mass breeding tens of thousands of corn snakes, there's like a suppressive effect on the total market. But nobody's like mass breeding cave geckos, tens of thousands of cave geckos. So my thoughts of the market are, I don't know. If you're well diversified, you're making sales currently with other species. Like I still sell corn snakes and I still sell ball python. I just don't sell like as much as I need to for me to be like, yeah, the market's awesome, right? They're going. People want certain things. People still want pets. People still want intro-level breeders. But people aren't, we have too much inventory, period, for the amount of demand that exists. So I'm like, we're obviously collectively, we're all trying like new ways to reach new people. I think, hopefully we're trying that. But maybe people don't want as many ball pythons as we have the capacity to breed.
And here's one thing that kind of baffled me, and this dawned on me today when I went to the pet shop. So I had to go get some live rat pups for 2 hatchlings. I'm trying to get switched over to frozen thawed. I'm just trying to get them away from live mouse hoppers. So we were there, got these rat pups, and we had my daughter with us, and of course, she has to go look at all the snakes, the lizards, tortoises, all that crap. And I'm looking at the prices on some of these ball pythons, and my jaw just drops at the prices on these things. Like, I think the one was it Enchi yellow belly something. It was just 3 codoms, like nothing fantastic, like at all. $400.
Yeah, but that's like always been true. The problem is like we failed to market effectively to random mom number 7 who's coming in to get dog food, and they do. And we also have like way more overhead. But like, what novel way could we engage random mom number 7? I don't know.
That's true.
To just suck up the inventory, because we import more ball pythons yearly from Africa to send to pet stores than we currently have on Morph Market, right? And those all go to pet stores and go find homes and probably die, like whatever. I don't know what happens to them.
They become fancy ball pythons,
right? And then I'm sure reptile industries by themselves make more ball pythons than what is on Morph Market as we speak. Also, so it's not like the amount of inventory we have is actually too much for the national demand. It's too much for the boutique part of the hobby where a bunch of breeders are selling to each other. And once in a while, a pet person stumbles in confused and is like, should I buy something? And we're like, yes, hurry up.
Buy this over here right now. This. You want
right.
This.
The market is so much bigger than reptile shows, Morph Market, and whatever. It's way bigger. Even the corn snake market, thousands and thousands and thousands of more corn snakes will exist, never to touch Morph Market or the boutique market in any way, and go straight from major breeder, like industrial scale breeders, straight to the public. It's just, we're not doing a good job communicating to, moms, people at Petco. I was at Petco and there was like 2 Fort Sill Army dudes who were like arguing over which ball python to buy, and I was like, should I like weirdly interrupt their conversation and be like, I got one for you in my pocket? But that would be like creepy, right?
Meet me in the back alley.
Yeah.
I got one for you.
I'll just give you one. I'll throw it in your. So yeah, I didn't scoop the sale, but I think we need to like do more like outreach or something. I don't know, like more like not a reptile show, literally a bring reptile to class, with the intent of promoting a specific pet, not just like showing off your albino berm, which is something we all, that doesn't actually like promote the hobby as like a functional experience for kids.
Yeah, I would, because that same pet shop, they do like a reptile. I don't want to say extravaganza, but kind of like an extravaganza thing. Like it's like a 1 day thing. They get like people from Zoo Med, all that other crap. I almost thought about approaching them and be like, hey, I have a YouTube channel, just to see if I couldn't like sneak my ass in there, just to kind of market myself a little bit more. But then I thought, it's like, yeah, right. They're not gonna freaking get it. Like, they'll look at the channel like, oh, this guy breeds. Like, oh, we're sending him in here.
I don't know, maybe like Lisa said, we all need to make herp societies in every town. Send one person with, I don't know, like very standard ass pets, just to be like, this is cool too. It's not like extravagant or whatever, but if you see one at your friend's house or your stepdad's house, like, this is this kind of pet and it's totally normal, and all of these kids are indoctrinated right away. Boom, tricked them. We bring a leopard gecko, a crested gecko, a ball python, and of course, like the most common ones.
Yeah.
And then whenever they go to a store and they're like, I want a pet, they won't buy. Like, we've done a pretty good job like teaching people not to buy iguanas for their first pet, but we probably should like keep going with that. Like, the amount of sulcatas that get sold here is crazy. The South is crazy. I don't know where these animals go or who takes care of them, but I'm assuming they're all dead. But they have like buckets of sulcatas they just throw at kids. $50, here's a fucking sulcata. What is going on?
I'm not gonna lie. I forget what my sister-in-law said about her and my brother were thinking about getting my niece a turtle at one point, or a tortoise.
Little one.
And I was like, I was there looking at the reptile show, and I saw these little sulcatas, and I think they were like $50, something like that. They're outrageously cheap from what I thought. And I was there thinking, all right, I knew that there was tortoises that get huge and you can ride them around like Volkswagens. I knew that there was smaller ones, and I'm there thinking, all right, it's just trying to go through my knowledge in my head. It's like, okay, I think these are the ones that are small. So I messaged her, said, hey, I found this at the show, blah, 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 blah. Look up, I'm going to be here for a couple of hours. If it's something you're interested in, let me know. So about an hour went by. She messages me back. She goes, what the hell are you trying to do to us? I was like, what do you mean? Because this thing's going to live for like 100 years old, and your niece will be able to ride it around, basically. Right. I'm like, oh, shit. It's like, that's the wrong one I sent you then. Never mind.
Right. You almost pulled the pin out of the grenade and lobbed at an innocent family. And down here it's warmer, so they can spend a lot of the summer outside, and you just shuffle them into a barn. And so, like, maybe it makes more sense, but like, there are a lot of pure tortoise vendors selling tortoises cheap, big ones. And I'm like, to me, it's almost worse than selling them a retic. I'm gonna be honest. That's the fucking tortoise is smart. It's gonna live forever.
Yep.
And it's not gonna like kill you or your dog, but it's gonna like be a continuous burden for a long time, and it deserves better treatment. But what the fuck do I know?
A tortoise is basically like some of the birds out there. It's an animal where you will it to your kids because it will outlive your ass.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm not like, my master's degree was on wood turtles. To me, they're all really smart, and I'm not convinced we should have them as pets because I'm not sure we're good at it, good enough at it yet. Some people can have them, but I don't know if we need to be shoveling, literal shovel, like snow shovel full of turtles at people because, we decided to incubate the eggs. You can leave them in your yard and not incubate the eggs. What about that idea? That's crazy. Let them like hang out together, but don't incubate the eggs.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some people are going to come at me. I know they're crazy, especially like, and some of them are really cool. Like I would think it'd be fun to have a spotted turtle pair, because they're small and they're native and they're cool looking. But they'll probably be on the Endangered Species Act before I'm dead, 100%. So then, like, what do we do with all these turtles?
I miss the days of being able to, like when I was a kid, down by my grandmother's place, we used to walk up and down the road and went through the woods. You would find box turtles all the time. I do not remember the last time I saw a freaking eastern box turtle. Like it's
Well,
probably been at least 18 years, at least. Probably
damn,
some.
you need to drive around in the morning when they're crossing the roads. You'll see them.
That's the thing. I travel all over the place, Jessica, all over the place.
What's going on
And
here?
I do not. I have a hard time even
Are you
finding a
blind?
freaking
Is your
snake.
color blindness affecting turtles now? You're colorblind and turtle blind.
Colorblind.
The thing about turtles is that they get run over a lot, right? And you think it's like, oh, if they lose one or two, but because they need whatever recruitment they got to adulthood to stick. So they need adult survivorship to be very high because they lose most of their babies to predators. So if you squish one or two adults in a given area every year as a door, they're all gone within 10 years or something. So wood turtles are like pretty resilient. Like raccoons would chew off their legs and chew off their tails, and they'd still be like running around their stumps, and they would get hit by like mowers and they'd be fine. And but if you hit them with a car, the population goes. You hit enough reproducing females, there's no more recruitment. Population is basically like relictual in most of the places that I studied. It's the same way with box turtles, especially since you have like roving males that are supposed to be like spreading DNA and with no home ranges. All those things get like smushed, right? Eventually. So you got me all depressed. Thanks a lot.
Well, you have me here worried about sunshine disease.
Thanks a lot. I can't even get through a podcast without getting depressed. So that's why I'm like most turtle species will be endangered because of life history reasons. If you want one as a pet, keep it. But I don't know if it's like a business model. But I'm a bad person. What's that?
Part of me wondered, like, especially for the box turtles, if it wasn't because of pesticides being sprayed on everything. So I don't know.
I'm sure that doesn't help, but they're actually like pretty good at dealing with stuff. Like like box turtles are like really poisonous. Like if you eat them.
Really?
They're like really good at like compounding like alkaloids from mushrooms and weird plants. They're actually like pretty good at being nasty little demons. And they eat carrion and birdseed and stuff too. So like they're actually pretty good at being like trash pandas. But they're squishable and slow. But yeah, everything's a problem. I don't know. It's very regionalized. So like if you find a good place for box turtles, you can find like hundreds in like, a 40-acre hayfield, as long as it's like bordered by woods, so they can thermoregulate and then go party and eat worms and blackberries and come back. But if there's too many roads crisscrossing that are too high traffic, it just knocks them all down.
That's the end of the turtle road then.
Mm-hmm. So everybody, if you see a turtle, get out of your car. Don't get hit by anything. Help the turtle cross the road in the direction it was going to begin with.
Yes.
And that'll save its life.
I know I was coming home from work one day and there was a snapping turtle, huge sucker. The thing was freaking huge. And he was trying to cross the road. And I straddled him with my pickup truck. And I pulled over, walked over to him. And I'm there like, how in the hell am I going to remotely help move you across this freaking road and not lose a finger, a hand, or something? So
you gotta practice it. There's a way to hold them without holding them by their tail, because that can actually dislocate their spine. But there's a way to do it.
I did know that. I just kind of like, it's like, sorry, dude, you're kind of on your own on this one.
But you can almost sort of like scoot them with your foot or something. I don't know.
I didn't want to get bit. I've heard horror stories of people getting,
because usually it's like females, unless they're like crossing back to their like summer. All the turtle fans are like, Jessica, fuck you in the chat. I'm sorry. I know they're like a cool yard pet, but what do we do with the amount their shovel that shows?
Yeah.
Come on.
And I think every show does have that one vendor. It's every kind of freaking turtle you can imagine out the wazoo.
Right. Did they breed all those? I don't think so. You know, maybe they did breed them. And I had turtle neighbors twice now, and they're fine. I'm sure they love their hobby. I just don't know. You know, the stupid cord snakes died between 15 and 20 years. Great. Great. It's not like a long-term commitment. A ball python is a long-term commitment too. The cord snakes will be dead by the time your kid gets to college. Yes. Hell yeah. That's a great pet.
Now, what are some of the ball python projects you're working on?
Oh god. So I like clown. I think clown is fucking awesome. Busy, dark, complicated clowns. I don't like things that reduce them. I don't like things that make them brighter unless there's something dark to fix it. But everybody else likes that too. So that is an incorrect answer, in my opinion, at this point, because the prices drop faster than you can work the project, in my opinion. Too many people like it. So at this point, I'm going to like Krypton my clowns.
Okay.
With Ultramel.
Oh. I don't understand the hype behind Ultramel.
I don't like it that much, which is weird because I bought it. But to me, banana is the best, like, fate for a male ball python. Because all male ball pythons will be, like, not useful as a breeder eventually. So something banana-like, which would be Ultramel, makes it more prestigious but still look colorful to a pet person, would ensure that animal has a home at 10 years old or whatever when it's done being a breeder and needs a pet home. Because I don't know what happens to adult male ball pythons that are former breeders that only live and are mean and ugly. I don't think they are placed in pet homes at the rate that is ethical. Let me put it that way. So if the color modifier is orange, which I don't really care, but it looks cool, that preserves those animals as a hypothetical pet when they're males. But banana doesn't have enough value to like make sense from like a breeding project. It's just like a bonus.
Okay.
But having the males be orange and just go away, goodbye, makes more sense. I prefer like hypo stuff, right?
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't know if like a normal human looks at a hypo unless it's like a GHI Mojave hypo and is like, wow, that's different.
Those are. I have one that's got chocolate in it, and she's just freaking stunning.
Yeah, we have to make animals that even when they're not useful to a breeder anymore, can still be appreciated by a pet. And I usually do like the husband checked, and he's usually like, that's a fucking brown snake. I'm like, okay. Like it could be like a gravel or a super gravel or something. Fucking brown snake. So that means a normal person looks at it and doesn't care. So like this is the Kathy Love hat band tricks, like test. Like if someone would wear that pattern on a hat band or as a tie, you know, at a fun party, that's something that will always have some value in the market as a pet. All of the animals that are sort of won't. Oh, so I'm doing that. So like Krypton to fix clown with Ultramel, probably DG and hypo and stuff for fun. But the goal is to make males that are at least some long-term viability in the pet market.
Okay.
And then Tri-Stripe, probably with clown, because I think the Krypton or cryptic Tri-Stripe will look much better than the clown Tri-Stripe. And then I am doing Black Xanthic and VPI. So not even TSK once. What the fuck?
But it's still Xanthic, though. You get a pass just because it's Xanthic. I don't discriminate. Yeah. Now, if you were part of my PA group chat and you said that, then yes, I would discriminate. But if you're outside of the PA group chat, it's okay, everybody.
Yeah, and it wasn't even that intentional. Like I took my VPI female like on trade for like a pair of boas from like a friend. I was like, that's cool. And then Black Xanthic was more intentional to like make a better double het with tri-stripe. Like I don't know anybody who's made Black Xanthic tri-stripes yet. So I had the chance to have like a disease testable adult female from like a friend on the Discord. And I was like, and she's het hypo, 100% hypo. I was like, fuck it. That's like a good rare tri-stripe combo that I could like work on not by myself. I'm sure someone else doing it somewhere, but be one of the few people in that version of it. And then tri-stripe clown, Black Xanthic hypo stuff. I do have Desert Ghost. I just don't know what to do with any of it.
So this is where I come out and I look really like a jackass and dumb. What's the difference between Black Xanthic and regular Xanthic? Because that's one thing I've always been wondering, and I know that it's probably Black Xanthic isn't compatible with Xanthic, but like I guess part of me kind of thought Black Xanthic was like maybe VPI's version of like TSK's dark phase.
So all of the Xanthics have a dark phase.
Okay.
Including VPI and Black Xanthic. I think VPI just thought the Black Xanthic one did it more often, so that's why they named it that way. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not them. But to me, the percent seems the same. Like people will post like, here's my dark phase Black Xanthic. All the babies look normal. Like they haven't had time to transform if they're going to. And I've seen dark phase VPIs too. So I guess I haven't seen dark phase MJs, but I bet they do too. It's probably like a property of ball pythons that like when they become Xanthic, sometimes there's like an immune response or something, and then they overexpress melanin. I actually don't think it's probably heritable in the way that we think it is, where we can like line breed darkness. I think this one is sort of
just potluck.
It might be autoimmune, just like when snakes turn gray. Like they just wake up one day and like, I'm gray today. It could have a cofactor that we could breed for, but the way it acts randomly, it seems just more like a disease process that doesn't hurt the snake that bad, just steals xanthan. So I'm suspicious. But fuck, don't email me if this is your favorite project and you've been working it for 20 years. I like the things that turn blue, and I like the dark Xanthics, but I've seen it in every kind of thing. It's cool. We should make more of it. But like my Black Xanthic isn't black. Looks like a kind of like a brown turd. It doesn't pass the husband test. Let's be honest.
So it really, I mean, it just basically looks essential like any other Xanthic, so to speak.
That's right. I think that the problem is like, which Xanthic do you pick to like position yourself with other people in that project? Like, do you want to be with JD Constriction and TSK? Do you want to be with VPI because I don't know, Steve Morphs is in it and he sells you like the DG Clown Xanthic is currently only in VPI, right?
Yeah.
So
as far as I know, that's
so if you're like, I'm gonna buy a triple, well, you're stuck with VPI right now, bitch. So like you don't have a choice. So that's part of it, of why I would add another Xanthic line, even though I don't need to necessarily, is because that would position Black Xanthic head hypo with sort of the blackhead leopard stuff that Justin made with Pied, and I don't know. It just sounded bougie with tri-stripe. Is that a dumb reason?
No, hey, it works. Hey, everybody's got the direction they want to go.
I wish they were cooler than they are, I'm gonna be honest. And they're fine. I like all Xanthics. I like Xanthics in everything. I like anery corn snakes. I like cinder corn snakes. I like anery boas. But, stuff.
That's awesome, Phil. Good to hear it, bro. No, I think it's...
Oh, it's in the closet in the laundry room. My husband came in here.
I was going to say, it's in the closet in the laundry room. All right.
He came in, he was trying to mime like a question. Well, like, just ask it. I don't know. We're fine.
What the hell are you trying to tell me? Charlie here said he had a banana turned gray on him, which I do think I remember seeing pictures of that.
And it happens a lot, like more than you would think. So people, it's cool. I just don't know if it means anything. Sorry.
So I know there was one Hamburg show, like I guess it probably been like 2018, 2019. A guy had this really awkward gray and black ball python. Like I never saw this shade of gray in my life in a ball. Mm-hmm. And I asked him what the story was with this thing, and he told me the pairing of it. He said, it used to be like this. He's like, and then it went through a shed cycle, and then here you go. This freaking thing completely changed color, like in one shed.
Right, but doesn't that like sound autoimmune to you? Like it woke up one day and was like, I'm going to attack every xanthophore I have in my body. Yep. Like, I'm going to, have an immune response to my own pigment, just like it happens in people, right? And other animals. So it doesn't sound, it looks cool. And I don't think the animal is like, I don't know, needs to be put on the paleo diet to like suppress its autoimmune function. But I'm just saying it doesn't, that is the best xanthic you'll ever get because it's killing its own yellow production. To me, obviously theory, hashtag not, the sponsors do not condone what I'm saying. They don't, nor does Jeremy condone. I'm lying. But that's what I think is happening. So I would like it, but I would never breed for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got 2 more topics if you've got time. I don't know what your time frame is like, Jessica.
Sure. I think the miming has stopped.
Okay. All right. I didn't know. I just wanted to make sure because we've got like a half hour yet, and then we're at 11 o'clock, and then that gives me time.
I did. Yeah. That's fine.
For everything to upload, me to throw in where YouTube can throw commercials at if they so choose, and I can still get to bed by 12 o'clock and wake up at 5 and go to work and start my crazy ass week. Now you guys were talking about this with Adam like 2 weeks ago, I guess it was, about shows. What are your thoughts on shows? How long do you give a show to see if it's worthwhile doing or if it's just not feasible to keep basically feeding a horse with,
I know people say like
experiences, it seemed.
Yeah, people say do a show 3 times. Oh my God, fuck off. Like I so you want me to lose money 3 times per show to decide if it's worth it? I'm good. Like if you're making some money and you're like, it was okay. Yeah, 3 times to decide if it's actually worth it. But if I pay the show $100 to be there, to have the pleasure of being there, like you have to have standards for yourself. Yeah. Okay. God Christ. And I know, and people are like, oh, that's good promotion. You're good promotion. I don't want to hear any more about promotion. All I do is promote things. I have a stupid podcast. I do Instagram every day. I share your stories. I don't know if those people will ever be buyers in a situation where I'm like directly competing with 100 other vendors, 80 other vendors, whatever it is. Because I'm just another C in the face. And I'm also a C in the face of Morph Market. But where can I be more myself? I don't know. Maybe like smaller shows. Maybe shows where you're the only corn snake breeder, rat snake breeder, carpet breeder. I don't know. Something like that. I'm like just really tired of spending money on shows and time and
How many shows have you done so far?
In Oklahoma? Hold on. I'm dumb. 1, 4.
Okay. Now,
and we only have 2 a year. 2 in Oklahoma City anyway, twice a year. I've only lived here for a year. Then I did one in Fort Worth. So I skipped one and done every other one. So to do 3 per location would take at least a year and a half to decide by the old rule.
Yeah.
But I would lose thousands of dollars deciding that. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm an absolute fucking complainer. But it's way different if you live near the show or you have a friend near the show and you can stay in their house or whatever. Like when I lived near the show in Washington, we got to go home every night. So if I made $1,500, I was only out the table cost and like my time. But now all the shows are at least 2.5 hours away or whatever. It's too much to get up in the morning to do it. So I basically have to. So it changes the arithmetic a lot. Okay. So I would rather sit and do the auction, make less money per snake, but have spent no money to sell them, than drive to a show and make zero money.
I get that. And like I've had mixed results at shows. I've had some good shows. I've had some. All right.
Are you ready to be honest? What's a good show for you?
My best show was I moved 7 hatchlings.
How much money is that though? Don't be shy.
They were all low end stuff. So it's stuff where I was really glad to see it move just because I would have spent more money feeding it than anything. It was probably, I think it was all but $1,000.
That's your okay show or best show?
That was my best show so far. But like I said, I mean, it was all low end stuff.
Like, but does that make you happy? Why don't you just wholesale that, save the money on the show, and come back when you have like better stuff? I know you got the free table, but you know what I'm saying.
No, this wasn't even at that show.
Oh fuck!
This was at Oaks, so I think that was like $90 for the table, something like that. But I looked at it as it was another one to get my name out there, still being so new.
I don't think industry, I'm going to fight you. I'm just so I know I've been complaining about it, but I'm going to keep complaining about it because there are people like I've been on the show circuit losing money every weekend. This show, that show, this show, that show. I like to just cover my table costs, get my name out there. I'm like, I don't fucking know who you are, though. I don't know who you are. So did you get your name out there? My point is, like, people should, like, work on social media, start a podcast, start a YouTube video channel, like, promote their brand to the national audience because we can ship, wholesale the cheap stuff, and focus on the sales that matter and the relationships that matter. Because the family that stumbled in and is dribbling on your table isn't going to buy your high-end ball pythons anyway. No, and I get like wanting to move the like wholesale stuff at a show, but I don't know if you've been to a show recently. Most of the wholesale stuff isn't really moving anyway. So like,
as I say, it's been kind of. I mean, some of the guys that I'm good friends with, like Danny and Nathan and all them, they've actually done decent. But I think a lot of it's just the projects that they're working with. I mean, I think it's a lot of.
That's very important. Like if you're lucky with the right buyer at the right time. But a lot of the like cheap stuff, pet stuff, doesn't matter how cheap you make it. Nobody wants it, even if it's $30. Like, so what's the point of going right this second? So then, like, you could like recontextualize it. Be like, if it's truly about self promotion, like, why are we even selling anything? Why aren't we like talking up the podcast and interviewing people? Or don't bring any fucking snakes. Just bring a camera with the show on it, you know, and play your show and book new people. Like we're in like a weird fantasy land where it's about self-promotion, but it's also about sales, but it's also about experiences for kids, and it's also about education, and it's also about networking. It needs to pick one and perfect it instead of doing all of them poorly. That's just my opinion. I like complaining about shows. So people are like, I love shows. It's like my weekend away with. It's so fun with my friends. I think it is fun, but it's also like a lot of stress and struggle. And around here, you're not necessarily compensated no matter how many thousands of dollars of inventory you bring. pretty much always sell like 1,500, 1,000, whatever. And I'm like, this is not worth it because I spent $700-800 to get here.
See, that's the thing there. Like, I don't have really high travel costs. Everything's within where I can just drive there. Like Gettysburg show, I go out, set up Friday. We all go out to eat and just sit around and have some drinks Friday night. And I'll drive home, sleep, head back out to the show, get there by like 7 o'clock in the morning. So like it's only like an hour drive. Like I'm fortunate with where I'm at.
That's a great show. It almost looks like it doesn't matter. You make 500. I don't know. There's like biosecurity concerns, but like I don't know, who cares? But everybody has to run the rubric, and I don't even know. I just don't know. Like I would rather perfect like the Justin Kobelka model than the shots fired, go for your pet model. Okay, let me be honest. Premium, nice stuff that people know is nice. And, we can even get good at placing pets in pet homes on the internet if we work on it better. I don't know how, but it's obviously possible.
And I think that's one thing that Darian's been trying to do is to get Morph Market out there to so many people. There's just sometimes I question if stirring a hornet's nest up is the best way to do it all the
time. I don't know. I've talked to Darian on the phone. He's like, I don't know. He seems nice. I mean, which sounds weird. And he just wants to like get people riled up for promotional purposes. But I don't necessarily like it either that it's always something. It's just like, I like you. Why is it always something? Why is it every day? Like, I don't care. You're like making me like you less. I'm like, cool, ban people who are bad shit. Like, good. But like, why does it have to be something? Just like post a picture of a cool snake. That's what I do.
Yeah, you don't really have to try to stir any pots. Just
cool lizard. Be like, look at this cool lizard, which is what their like IG does. That's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. Like you just pick a snake off of someone's ad, throw it out there, make it public, and
right. I just need a break from Darian drama a little bit. Thank you, Darian. I do need him to make the wholesale section, Darian, please. I keep asking kindly. He doesn't respond to me anymore. The wholesale section
wouldn't be a bad idea.
I need it now because I think that'll solve most of our problems. Like if you're like EIN protected, only pet stores and stuff can log in, or like people who know they want to be a wholesaler. You have your little ball python lot ready to go, and we can like know what the correct pricing is, like the market pricing. Right now, it's a fucking secret. If you message a wholesaler, you're like, "Will you buy these ones for $45?" Because there's like 2 albinos mixed in ahead, and they're like, "No," or maybe. Like who knows? It's a secret. Depends on if you're their best friend or you did the secret handshake or you did like the BJ duty behind the fucking Arby's earlier. Who knows how you price wholesale ball pythons?
See, that's one thing. Like I thought I had an in at the one pet shop, and like they must have some outrageous stipulations because they're like, well, we only work with breeders that can supply us like throughout the whole year and everything. It's just kind of like, well, like I'll have plenty of stuff that I can sell you. It's like you just gotta wait for the shit to lay, and then you gotta wait for it to hatch. It's like it doesn't just miraculously like self-generate. And
I mean,
we started the process, and then they just kind of ghosted me. It's like, well, you know what, the hell with it then. It's like I'll just do it my freaking self.
I mean, it's a huge problem in my opinion. Like the fact that we have like jumbo breeders producing tens of thousands of ball pythons every year for the national market, yet we can't get the boutiques extra sort of shoveled into that system successfully right this second. Why is that? We don't have a good way to communicate to pet stores that like if they want a lot of ball pythons for this week, there will always be one available on Morph Market, and they just like pick the flavor of the morphs of the males or whatever. So then we will know that that outlet is there. We don't have to go to that middleman. So we can actually charge the pet stores what the middleman wholesalers charge pet stores ourselves to ship directly to their retail establishment. That's a much cleaner, less disgusting biosecurity situation.
Yes.
Also, so like there's like many benefits.
More money.
Sometimes 50% is good. If you got 50%, I'd be like pretty happy. There are some places right now only paying $25 a head for the ball python, no matter what it is. So it could be about, because that's how many extras there are. Or they're like psychologically torturing whoever they're buying from, being like, fuck you, I'll take whatever you got. I don't know. But if we had Morph Market EIN protected, wholesalers only, or sellers to wholesale accounts, we would see what the like market pressure is, and we would know what they want to buy at. Because some people only buy corn snakes at $35 a head. So no matter the morph. Some people only buy them at $25. Some people only buy them at $15.
And then they go and they mark it up to $200.
Right. But ideally, I don't know. Somebody would want to buy them at like $50, and then they could like pick their morph or something for their store. Like there's like a benefit there to the store to like get all snows or something, whatever they think will move inventory wise. So like there's got to be a way to drive value to like small pet stores instead of them. Why they couldn't, use because they wanted to be able to order a couple of ball pythons from Cal Zoo or whatever every week to fill their inventory instead of taking your 10 or 20 all at once, one at a time.
You could sell them on Morph Market for that, which, I mean, I guess you could. I mean, if you really want to, I mean.
People are doing it right now, but there's like no good way to look for that.
Yeah.
So you can't communicate that it's a lot to someone. Like, let's say like it's a pet store. They'd have to like accidentally stumble on the morphs in your lot to like know that there's a morph. There's no like designated lot tab. I don't know. I've complained about it a lot on my show. I think this would solve a lot of problems because we could move our boutique inventory into the pet market and maybe like outcompete like Reptile Industries, Reptiles by Mac, people like that. They obviously still have their place because like they have like dedicated contracts for Petco and PetSmart, which we can't compete with or whatever.
Well, plus I think a lot of those places like Outback Reptiles, even like they get stuff directly from Africa too. So I mean, they've still got their own.
Right. I'm just saying, like, if
valuable
could source a more efficient marketplace for wholesale inventory to private pet stores, I think the ball python number would not be $38,000 right now, in my opinion.
Oh no, it probably wouldn't be. No, it would be significantly lower. You would think anyway, but then maybe more people would start breeding, and then that number just.
I don't think the number of ball pythons on Morph Market affects whether or not people want to breed, though. But I do think that affects how likely you are to sell a low-end animal in Morph Market.
Yes.
Does that make any sense?
Agree with that.
I think people just like, I want to breed this project. Sweet. I like GHI clowns or something stupid. Great. So, but then you end up making a lot of byproduct that at this point is a pet. And we're not well equipped to put that in a pet hand because the people coming to reptile shows are buying some pets, but not as much as they were. So we have too many.
A lot of them already have in the mindset of doing the breeder thing, and they're looking for that one perfect animal for their projects, and the pet animal that doesn't have a head attached to it at all just isn't normally the cup of tea that they're looking for.
It's tough. We need more people to just want to be pet owners. So the people who are advocating for that are great. But we need more of that.
Lisa says, put flyers for Herp Society meetings and pet shops might help get normies to our market. That's a good thought.
Yeah.
I don't even know if there's any really herp societies around here in Pennsylvania anyway.
You have to start one tonight.
I don't have
See,
time.
where I am, the only one is in Tulsa or something. So it's like 4 or 5 hours away. So I would have to make my own with my one other person on Wharf Market within an hour drive of me. It'll just be me and Texoma, which I think is 2 hours. So
Okay.
Club of 2.
Yeah, you're not too far from Holly then. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like it doesn't seem that far, but then like, damn. I don't know. Like I used to live like an hour and a half from DC. I never went to DC, so like that was too much work. Never going.
The traffic makes me never want to go to DC. I don't even like going to freaking Philadelphia, or God, even Lancaster City, which is a cakewalk compared to most places, but just traffic, not my friend. Do not like it.
Yeah, I don't know. I used to drive down to Bethesda, and they used to do experiments on me at the NIH for money because I'm lazy. Actually, personal information. So if you go to like the NIH building, you could like get enrolled in studies or whatever, and they're like you would be like the normal control for somebody, and so you would sit in like a pet machine or whatever, and so they'll like watch your brain while you do something, and then compare your brain to somebody else's, and they'll like give you good money. So this is how I got through college, right?
I've heard of people doing this.
But I'm always like, they're like, can we schedule you for 4:30 for your appointment? I'm like, fuck no, I ain't driving to Bethesda at 4:30. Eat my ass. God, it's so dumb. They're so dumb. They're like, oh yeah, let's get on the fucking the bus line. I mean, there's no buses in West Virginia. It's you drive your car, you starve and die. So I'm driving my car in the middle of the day. Appointments at noon only. Unacceptable. Good times.
All right, my last topic, everybody. So if you guys have any questions for Jessica, make sure you guys drop them now. But tell us about, it's not even a question, but tell us about the Holdback Rack, how you and Jana got that started, and just give everybody a little taste of what you guys have cooking right now.
So I tricked Jana into it. Willfully, I don't know. No, I think so. I've always liked podcasts. I think podcasts with two hosts are the best. No offense.
No, it makes it how can I put it? Fine. The way you two have it set up is freaking phenomenal because you guys have such great chemistry. Like you just bounce off one another. It flows. It's informative. It's entertaining. If I do a show solo, I feel as though I'm just like I don't see why people want to hear me freaking talk. Like at all, like I don't understand why anybody wants to hear me talk half the time.
Right. It's much more natural to be like, as a listener, to be a fly on a wall of a normal conversation than to be lectured at by a single person at a screen or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So like people, you feel that when you're doing a solo show, and people feel that too. So they don't like that as much. Also, like the benefit of having two people is like there's almost like, I don't know, character arcs or something. Like people change through time and they learn things and they make mistakes and they grow. So there's all this like, and obviously you're a single host, but it's like easier to like see those changes when there's a pair because they're sort of responding to each other. So like, I don't know if anybody's listened to like Hello Internet. If you ever listened to that podcast.
No,
it doesn't matter. But there's a whole genre of podcast called like Two Dudes Talking. And they usually talk about tech or software or whatever, stuff boys like, right? But the whole point isn't really the topics anymore. It's about like the relationship of the two people, sort of related to the topic, but not really. And then like through time. So when I met Jana, she was like fun, happy. And she wanted to hear me talk sometimes. So I was like, listen, I swear to God, if we can talk in this driveway for 5 hours about nothing, we could record it and would do a better job like communicating who we are as people to other people than if we like I don't know, like struggled with YouTube videos or whatever. You know, like here's my clutch 3 reveal. Like nobody gives a shit really.
Hey,
But
they do too care, damn it, Jessica. They do. Don't you guys listen to one bit of what she's saying? You guys care about clutch.
I do watch you guys' clutch reveal, and I hit the like button. But what I'm saying is, I don't want no more clutch cuttings or clutch pullings, Jeremy. Stop it. Go straight to the reveal. I just want to see like the dad, the mom, be like, here's how awesome they are. Here's why I select them. This one's awesome. This one's awesome. These ones are available. Message me. That's what I want. But maybe I'm like an old curmudgeon. I've seen too many like pulling, cutting, then reveal like separate videos. I'm like, fuck. See, you can't drag it out this long.
See, all right, I'm not gonna lie. All right, I was going through my feed today, and I saw a couple different clutch pullings. I almost slapped myself because I'm there. It's like I saw all this, and I'm there thinking to myself, I was like, why the hell do I want to watch someone pull clutch of eggs?
Right, you pull clutches of eggs.
Dumb shit. It's like you do that all the time. Post just a clutch pulling. It's just
right.
Like,
the only way that works is if it's like
came off
like insanely new and it's paired with like news, or you're like, and I'm going to a show, or like there's something going on extra. But I don't really want to know that you have a clutch pulling. I'm so sorry, everybody at home. But I do like reveals where you're like, damn, missed the odds, or we got it. Here's what it looks like. I don't actually like cuttings anymore, even if people are really excited. I don't want to see a 1/4 inch of a snake and try to like evaluate its quality anymore. I just don't care. Wait until it's shed. Show it to me. I like that. Thank you.
See, Charlie's got a good point here on how my clutch reveal vids don't because once they drop, the clutch is already sold.
Which is fine too. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know how to do anything anymore, but I think. I mean, Lisa asked, is it better to keep them a secret until they're ready to sell? Maybe there's like the Justin model, but there's like some mystique to like having a constructed video about a set of clutch reveals. And maybe even like pre-recording it so you can still sell it. I don't know. And just be like, boom, I did it. I hit the DG Exanthic. And this is all like the build up and like making more of a narrative out of it instead of like chopping it up into 3 videos that aren't as interesting.
Well, see, my reason for like doing the clutch pullings was it builds that anticipation. It gets people thinking, oh, well, maybe that's, a clutch that I'm interested in, maybe, getting something from. So they pay a little bit more attention.
Do you think that is true? What if you did like the reveal?
I've had a couple of people hit me up after they saw the video saying.
From a pulling, though.
Yeah,
not from a cutting or whatever.
No, from the
pulling. Then keep doing it. I have
had people say.
I just find it really boring.
It is. It is like. It's hard. It is hard to make it entertaining. It really is.
Right, you have to like add something to it or whatever. I don't know. I get corn snake eggs every day. If I did a corn snake clutch pulling, you would be like, "You're boring, the worst person ever." I will like take a picture on Instagram and be like, "Look, there's some more eggs," but I don't even do all of those because sometimes it's multiple a day.
I can't even keep track of Instagram anymore at this point. Like, YouTube's about the only thing I can honestly keep up with. Is just getting the videos edited, posted, getting guests lined up and booked, doing the thumbnails, all that shit. That's on top with all the snakes. That's about all that I have time for anymore.
It's okay. I think YouTube's probably better to like invest your time in. To be perfectly honest. Like I've posted an Instagram picture or reel basically every day. Like I skipped one day once a month or something. It doesn't matter. The best thing it is like a reference point. I could go back in time and be like, here's this clutch. This is what the dad looks like or whatever. Here's a lock of it, whatever. Double het pairing. So they're both double het without having to like dig through my phone for a picture. That's the best use for it.
Yeah, that's true.
It does. I don't think it drives sales, but it allows sales in the comments, like not in the comments, but in the DMs. So I do sell a lot in the DMs, but I'm selling to my friends anyway. So I don't know. I don't know if that's because of Instagram or just because I have friends on Instagram. So I would keep doing YouTube. Fuck it.
I mean, I look at it this way: YouTube makes me a little bit of money. I mean, it helps pay for some rats. I mean, none of us are getting rich off of freaking YouTube.
No.
Anyone that thinks that, I mean, maybe Barcheck might be. Justin might make an okay living. Dave Kaufman probably makes a decent living off of it, but
yeah, I wouldn't even like contextualize it that way. You're trying to use YouTube as a platform to advertise sales.
Yes,
like
exactly. Advertise, let people know what I'm working with, and a lot of it's even more just record keeping for me. And then that way I can also look back and watch my growth and see, or I start, like, if I get down a day or something like that and think I'm done with this shit, it's pointless, I'm going nowhere, I could go back
well,
to
I don't think you need to go anywhere. Like, if this is your platform you're invested in, you don't need to like hit some sort of like monetary sales or like ad revenue. Like, who cares? No. In my opinion, you're trying to sell snakes. You're using YouTube to do that. If it just becomes too much to do that many videos, just don't do as many videos, but still do some.
Well, see, that's why I one video a week keeps me happy. I can keep consistent with it. It allows me to do that filler content, with like my carpet python series or some of the other series I have going on, between clutches, I can do that stuff. So, one video a week does me one live, and that's about all that I've got time for on.
Right. That's good enough. You're doing great. 10 out of 10. I'm not sure Instagram is like relatively easy to do. So it doesn't hurt me to take a picture every day. But I would like to do more YouTube videos like on my channel of my stupid egg pullings.
Which links are in the description, everybody.
But I just want to go like straight to reveals and stuff like that. But I would like to do like more, I don't know, like what I think about like a very specific corn snake lineage or rat snake lineage or whatever in like 5 minutes, like a 5-minute bite. You don't have to come to the stupid podcast because maybe you don't have 2 hours to spend to wait for me to talk about whatever. But just be like, this is why Miami OKD is the best fucking corn snake you've ever seen in your entire life. And you're going to get a huge boner. Top 5 reasons.
And bam, there it is.
And that's it. Check it out on Instagram. Your boner will be on fire. And not in a bad way, in a good way.
Oh, shit. All right,
I got to go.
You got to go?
No, I'm just kidding. I just talked about boner, so that's a sign. Party's over, dude.
So back to the Holdback Rack. We somehow squirreled on that one.
Hell yeah. It's fucking hour 3 or some shit. I don't know where we are.
We're almost at 3 hours.
Yes, Jana was gracious enough and has put up with my bullshit for 2 years. Listen to me whine about stupid crap. Thank God. And so I think we do a good show. It's every Thursday now at 1 p.m. Eastern. And it's mostly supposed to be just us talking about something we feel passionate about that week. And sometimes there's guests if we feel like it. And there's no rules. And we can say boner on there too. So, it's a pretty friendly environment. And hopefully you learn something on accident once or twice an episode. That's my dream.
What the hell was...
Is your snake farting? That's what it sounds like.
I don't know what the hell's going on here. Somebody's doing something. Holy shit.
I think it was a fart.
I think someone's doing more than farting.
That was a shark.
Freaking mess.
I tried to send Chris a video of this snake sharting because I could hear it from the outside of the tub. He's like, but you can't see the snake. So he's like, the snake wasn't, it was you. And I'm like, you shit. I'm telling you, I'm sending you a video of the snake sharding and you don't believe me.
Lindsay's got it right here, right on the head. You guys do have, in my opinion, as well.
Oh, thank you.
I
don't know.
Show out there.
Wait, somebody let us loose, and then we just started doing stuff. And it got weird. but we're still doing it.
And now you guys also do the auction as well.
Yes, for right now it's every 2 weeks. So we just did one yesterday, and will be one 2 weeks from now with rotating vendors. And the goal is to like, I don't know, because you can't sell snakes on Facebook, you can't sell snakes on Instagram, but you can sell snakes on YouTube. Why not try harder to build up the idea that you can come to YouTube and have like a QVC experience? You know, like, wow, why is this snake awesome? And we could do that in like a clutch reveal video too. But what if you could have that snake right now? What if you know it's available? What if the price is good? And you can get excited about adding that for a good deal. And we can get some of this inventory moved along. And so that's what we're trying to do. We have not just ball pythons. Last time was Alex brought blue tongues, and they were actually really nice. And we've had, and I bring corn snakes and all kinds of other stuff. Chris brings all of his crazy pines and bulls and stuff. So
Chris has got a little bit of everything he can bring.
Right. And I think auctions, you know, I'm sure some people hate that auctions exist because it means like the market's not as good as it could be, but it's not as good as it could be. So like, I don't know what you want me to do. Like, do you want us to sit on inventory forever to protect prices on stuff? So we're going to protect the price from to $100, but it's really what we sold it for 80. We're going to protect that price difference. Like there's no permanent, like there's a permanent record of the video, but it's not like on Morph Market. Nobody's going to like match it.
Yeah.
This is the time, like a show where there's like a little bit of a discount because you came to the time constrained event and maybe got a good deal. And hopefully a lot of people add stuff to the box later. Like they bought a couple things cheap. They're just like, I don't want to pay shipping on something that costs $40. So they'll just add retail price stuff later to make their box more expensive to be worth it. That's very common. And hopefully people like, if they got good service from someone when they got a cheap snake, they will be a continuing customer later. And so like that could be the lead in for a connection that you wouldn't have made on Morph Market where you're just like, you know, really like cost comparison stuff. I think we need more chances to like sell animals and explain why they have value and they're good. Okay. And we do that at shows. You're like, look at this fucking awesome thing. But often your target audience is not correct. It's like a mom and she's confused why she's there. But on the auction, your target audience is other breeders and advanced level keepers. And so you can really explain deep down inside why, whatever, that animal matters at that moment.
Now, have the auctions, how is the success rate at people buying off the auction been? Because I know sometimes I catch it, and other times the families, I'm busy doing family stuff, so I'm in and out. It's like, seems like for the most part, everything finds a home. And
yeah,
it's just
I'd say it's like 70 or 80%.
Okay.
And some things don't get multiple bids. So like we always tell our sellers that like the minimum price is your reserve price. So be comfortable with whatever that is. And it's sort of good if it sort of hurts a little bit, but you got to be satisfied. So it's usually like around wholesale price or maybe a little more. And they can fucking sell it for retail price. I don't care. But like it's like a chance to be like, here's this snake, here's this moment. Do you want to put a box together? Let's make a deal, right?
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like to that seller, we don't tell them what to do. But I think most of them do sell. And then the like downstream benefits of extra sales when they get into like they bought a snake for $50. They're going to want to look through your inventory and add another snake because they have to spend $80 for shipping. You know, I think I sold 25 the first auction I did and added 5 or 6 snakes, 2 boxes that were already going out that weren't even auctioned. So it's variable, but I think it works it could even work for high-end stuff. You just have to like, I don't know if high-end buyers are always in the auction. So you just have to be like comfortable with whatever your reserve price is and maybe not all the lots going. But like the $200 to $500 range is actually probably the sweet spot. Because then people are like, yeah, if I got a good deal on that, it's a good breeder or whatever. The like super cheap pet stuff does go there, but it's not as good.
Okay, that was gonna be my next question. Is there any like pet people watching that are picking up stuff, or is it more just the
A little bit. Like
usual
I think we've
group?
sold like a single gene banana to somebody who just wanted
Okay,
a pet banana. But it's
that's
hard
cool.
to be sure. I think people just like the thrill of like, the immediacy and like the FOMO and whatever. So I don't mind taking some L's on some cheap pet stuff. If it sort of brings people into like the brand awareness stage for Hare Hall Farm or for our guests' brand awareness. Like who knew that Blazing Blue Tongues had such nice whatever if you were a ball python breeder and you never looked at blue tongue pictures on Instagram. Now 800 people or whoever are going to watch that live, even though he lost some money on some animals not selling them retail. No, have such more brand awareness about him because they got to see his animals, hear him talk about them, talk about the care than they would have otherwise. So like it's just cheaper to do that than go to a show where however many people come to the door and happen to go down your aisle, brand awareness happens.
And then
To me,
also, I think you also have to weigh your options as far as how long can you feed this thing until
yes.
by the time you sell it that you're remotely even like breaking even on it. And
Yeah, so that's why like we're doing more auctions faster. So this is partially like Chris's contribution. He's like, so since I have too many like snakes right in like the heavy caliber season, so he for a bunch. So he's like, before like the shipping blackout time, you might as well do a bunch so that like as stuff gets ready, and I'm like, I don't think it's going to go at this show. I would like to get rid of this % of this clutch or whatever because I already know I don't want to hold it over the winter.
yeah.
And I think those sort of cost benefit analysis should be done more often. And obviously stuff like there's some stuff where like it was easy to be like, yeah, I'll hold a female over the winter because she'll just get more expensive. That used to be true. It's not as true right now. They seem to be getting less expensive this summer anyway. So we'll see what they look like the next summer for certain stuff. Like it was easier to sell, like a Lumen Blast head DG female 6 months ago, for example. But she's technically bigger now, right? Bigger now. She's in previous markets, she would have been like $50 more expensive or something, or just an easier sell. I just feel like maybe even that should have been wholesaled if it wasn't moving along. Little doggy, it's depending on your space.
And that's like we were saying earlier with some of my stuff. I think I had already like today when I was down here working, going through cleaning stuff. It's kind of I got that kind of thought. It's like, you know what? When it comes time to renew some of these morph market ads on some of these balls that I have just sitting around here that are up for grabs anyway, we're gonna do like a clean house price here and try to drop things down like 50%.
That's why the auction's good.
But what's your wait list on for the auction though?
I don't know. Probably give you special treatment.
Ooh.
No, we have a bunch of open slots. You just have to like know when you want. I'm trying to limit it to like 3 people or whatever. But if you don't have a ton of inventory, we'll put 4 on that night.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is we need to auction, wholesale, whatever. Make the decision faster so you're not doing like the sunk cost fallacy shit where you're like, well, I already put in this much food into it. Well, because it's the time of that shit is over. Not invited. He can join you.
Chris doesn't want to let me play.
I'll book Jeremy every night you're doing it, Chris. Y'all gonna be like best friends.
I'll just go over to Chris's house. I'll take my stuff over to Chris. We'll just
that makes sense though, because then you can like share boxes or whatever if you're gonna ship out from the same location.
We could share boxes. Well, he can model the snakes, and I'll, work the camera. See,
That's right.
Now you've
So
got
many benefits.
Friends with benefits, yeah.
As long as it gets the snakes out the door to where they need to go.
Yes, as long as they don't come home with me, that's all that matters.
Which is how we treat shows sometimes. We're like, thank God I moved like 10 wholesale fodder snakes for like retail-ish price. You're like, we did it. I've been excited in that way too. But I'm like really changing my mind about that because the auctions are like a valid substitute for not wholesaling, getting a little more than wholesale, but like not fucking up the market that bad. Because those prices are on Morph Market. Nobody's going to come search them up and figure out what they sold for. So if you were happy to wholesale it at the reserve price, then whatever you got over that was gravy, and it's better than going to a show, in my opinion. Because I didn't have to do any work, sat here on my fat ass, had a good time, and it was hilarious.
And
that's my opinion. That's my opinion.
Blackjack says, I can't believe Jessica just said taking snakes to someone else's collection. It's a good idea.
They're butt buddies, so they can do anything to get things done.
I was gonna say Chris and I have a special relationship.
I was gonna say bosom buddies, but then I was like, it's two dudes, so it's gotta be butt buddies.
What plans do you guys have for the Holdback Rack in the future coming up?
Oh God, keep it going. That's my dream.
As long as it keeps going.
Sometimes that's enough, right? I would like to make a plan to have us get a table at a national show and do interviews.
That would be nice.
Together. That's my dream. I know we both want to do that. We don't know where. Like, Daytona would be cool as like a destination, but Arlington's technically closer. So, in terms of like other stuff, I don't know. I'm pretty happy with like adding the auction as like it is a lot of work, even if we're not auctioning. Maybe people don't believe it, but it's like there's like a time component and like a prep component and promotion and stuff. So you want people to be there. If they're not there, then it doesn't work at all. So, but if that could like become more of a thing, I would probably never go to a show again, except for a national level show.
Okay.
To be perfectly honest, because, and then like retail online sales to me, because that would mean like, I don't know, like you captured the full sales funnel, right? You can give somebody a good deal, have a doorbuster on an auction. They like your product. They like their service. They come to you for retail for like an entry-level breeder thing. And then you can also get them on like sneaking in a Japanese rat snake in their box. And they're like, damn, it turns blue. And so like you've captured them in your ecosystem instead of like, I like Morph Market, but you go to Morph Market, you're competing with everybody else too.
Yes.
So like the more ways we can like bring people in, have a smaller experience, I think that's how we drive sales in a down market, figuring out other ways to do stuff.
Patricia, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. Says, what, you all been going for 3 hours? Just say no to bed bugs.
Yeah, I got bed bugs the last show.
What?
I did. I got mites. Me. From my hotel.
Oh.
So awesome. 10 out of 10.
Oh, that would sour you on. Yeah. All right, now. All right.
I don't think they ever got into the house, but I made my husband like delouse the house. So.
Oh, I don't blame you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame you at all. Speaking of that, what's the best way to help prevent mites from getting onto your animals while at the show? Because I think that's something that everybody probably has going on in the back of their head. And so what's the best way to help prevent any likelihood of bringing that shit home?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can do. It's like personal choice. what you want to do. It depends on if your show promoter lets it, but if they'll let you permethrin spray around your table, I would do that, but most show promoters won't because there are invertebrates around that are expensive. And if like a waft of permethrin flies over there, all their tarantulas die, and then you're shit out of luck. So you can stealth do that. You can do that to your tablecloth before you get there. And you can treat prophylactically with fipronil, also known as Taurus SC diluted now, or after. I actually just treat after, which is fine. So you're doing quarantine. Show stock does not come back to your other for sale stock or your breeders. It has to be a different area.
Okay.
Unfortunately. And then I don't let people touch my snakes willy-nilly. Like they
I used to let people hold the snakes, and my whole perspective on that changed 2 shows ago. There was a kid holding a snake at my buddy's stand. Like we all kind of were like taking up an end cap basically.
Mm-hmm.
And he was holding this snake, and it was nothing against my, the animals that my friend has. But kid was holding it and everything, and came over, and he's just standing there at my table looking around. He goes, "So, can I hold a snake?" It's just like, yeah, no. Like that was the first time I ever told somebody no. But it was like, I just saw you holding a snake, and you showed no interest in buying it. You obviously have no interest in buying anything here.
Yeah. I mean, there's a big difference to someone who's like, I'm interested in that snake. If that person will lubricate, wait for their hands to dry, and put on gloves. That person will do that if a physical inspection is part of why they want to buy. But all of the weirdos that don't know better need to be informed politely that why you would want to prevent that is because of disease, and most people are fine with it. And then all the people who think it's like a petting zoo, they also need to be informed politely that that is not the purpose of this event. If they want to do that, there's like a fucking education booth over there where you can pay $5 to kiss a kangaroo or some shit. Go over there. That's what that's for. And I think we do, like the show promoters do a bad job of like explaining what the fuck is going on, right? It's not handling section
this
time.
This is not a petting zoo.
That's why I complain about like this is like the catch-all format that doesn't do a good job. Like if this was truly supposed to be about education, it would be hands-on, but those animals would not be for sale. It would not be breeding animals or valuable. They would be like, like a sulcata, a rescued sulcata, and a rescued tegu, and a rescued berm, like, and a bunch of stuff that like, I don't know, it doesn't matter. It's just a bunch of pets to explain to somebody like, biology, husbandry, the law. I don't know. Just explain whatever you want with an animal. But the way we do it now, we're like, all of these really expensive animals are supposed to solve all kinds of purposes all at once in the same space, mixed with like pigs. They sell mini pigs down here. Do they sell that in Pennsylvania? Those oaks have mini pigs.
I've never noticed. I mean, I'm sure they probably do. I never really look at the livestock tables, in all honesty. I don't know.
Well, you would hear and smell them if they did.
I don't think maybe at Hamburg, they might have little mini pigs, but I don't.
Right, and they're cute, but what is the goal? Like a premium experience, a pet experience, education? I feel like shows are really confused currently. So like, I would love to have been a show where it was like premium experience. So Tenley or Arlington or whatever.
Lisa says pet shops won't let you either, so piss off.
Yeah, I mean that's true, but like, have you ever seen the branding for some of the show circus? They're like on like the ads, you're like, come to the show to interact with and see thousands of reptiles and amphibians. Like, it's like baked in that they're tricking families into thinking it's like a handling session to some of their marketing material. And it's kind of true, but it's not fair then to those of us that don't. And I know they don't force us to let people handle. So it's like, I'm complaining about nothing, but that's why I bought a fucking sign. The sign says like, we limit handling to people who want to buy. you can handle
That's
it.
a good idea, though.
Yeah, I had Vistaprint printed out on like foam board, and it looks nice. And it's like, here's why: to limit disease transmission. Like that's why.
So that way, my animals do not die when I get home.
Yeah, and I have had one guy be like, I would never put on gloves. And I'm like, Godspeed, buddy. But most people are like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. They don't care. They don't care. You can make up whatever rule you want. Like put on a full body condom. They don't care. They're just there to have fun. So it's okay.
Justin says, great idea to have a sign. It really is.
Yeah, make it look nice. I think it only cost me like $15 for the stupid Vistaprint sign. Like it's on a board, so I can stick it in my like deli case, and it just sits on top, and I set it up. But I tried to get one of those like the tiny pull up sign that like self inserts. Apparently those are like trash. Don't buy them.
No, I have.
Does yours work?
Yeah, mine
really like the tabs inside break, and then like the tensioners stop working, and I'm like, just reading their reviews. I'm like, God, what happened in China when they assembled this? No.
Maybe it's just something with who Nathan deals with. I don't know, but I mean, the one I have is really, really nice. It's like a little 12, might be a little over a foot high, maybe 14, 16 inches high, something like that.
It wasn't from Vistaprint? That's the most reviews I was on. I was like, damn.
No. This isn't from Vistaprint. This is from that's part of what Nathan does normally is
so we gotta go to Nathan for the good stuff, is what you're saying.
Yep, you gotta go Nathan for the good stuff.
You're right.
And that's where I get all my shit from, all my branding needs.
Nathan.
And in all honesty, I did get all my shit from him before he became a sponsor, because the stuff is really, really nice. It's top quality shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know, like from like a biosecurity perspective, I'm like a crybaby. So maybe like that's part of why I'm like over shows. It's like not a joy to me. Like I do like meeting people that I like, right? Like and meeting new customers that I like. I'd like that. I swear to God. But like in the context of being like stressed out about the kid who like did the thing where they slid all the delis down and like almost knocked them off because they were just being a kid. It's not their fault. They're stupid. Kids have no brain cells. So like,
true.
You're just like trying to watch for that and trying to watch for theft. And it's like a pain in the ass. And other people love it, but we do need a way to like effectively place, the stuff that people don't necessarily want to ship. So what do I know? We'll keep trying.
Hey, you are doing a great job, Jessica. Okay. Everybody, we're gonna let Jessica have the rest of her night. I'm gonna call it a night. Next week we have I could freaking.
He's drunk. He's not even here anymore. Spiritually.
No, God, I wish there was some alcohol on that. The way this weekend went, stuck with the little man all weekend, and I shouldn't say stuck. That sounds really bad. But Friday night, all the little guy did was just cry and scream at me, and 3/4 of the day yesterday, all he did was cry and scream. So,
it's a tough time to be a baby.
It must
brain
be
is doing stuff.
Feed you and wipe your ass, and that's terrible life.
Yeah.
But he got me to the point where my wife was at a baby shower yesterday, so I sent her a text. I said, "What are the odds we can swap kids?" And she goes, "What?" I was like, "The little guy's just no matter what I do, he is not happy." I was like, "I think it's just because he's used to being with you all day. I think it's because it's every time it started, it was right after mom left." So it's like, I think he needs a mom. So I was like, can I swap you for the princess that thinks dad is all holy and walks on water? And she said, okay. So
yeah, I don't know how anybody has children, and I had one, but they're like hard, and you're like, I don't know. There's a long time there where there were babies where you're like, you're sweating, you're just like existing, and you're sweating. And they're crying, and your like brain is breaking because you can't handle their suffering or whatever, and you're just like, guess we're just gonna kill ourselves. But then you don't, because You believe in yourself. And you're
Yep.
trying to be a good mother with mental health. It's very hard.
Eh,
So you're doing great, and your wife's doing great. Tell her I said that.
I will. I had such a headache by the time I finally caved. And the funny thing is that after I got him to her, you know, I took Hadley to my mom's house. We went down there to get some stuff. We went out for ice cream then because my daughter Hadley thinks, like I said, I'm all holy and walk on water. Dad can do no wrong. Dad is amazing. I text my wife. I was like, so how's little man doing? She goes, oh, he's fine. I don't know what the hell the problem was with you.
You just didn't have boobies, man.
I was gonna say I just didn't have the right cup size, I guess.
Right, or like the comfort. Yeah, my child did not want to lay on Chris. I was like, are you gonna do skin bonding? He didn't give a shit. They like each other now. They don't talk to me at all. They talk about cars all day. It's bullshit. I did all the mystery.
That's what she said. That's what she said to me today. She goes, you know, because she was saying something to me, and Hadley walked up to her, and she goes, "You be nice to my dad." And like she was
shots fired.
And then Kara said something to her, and Hadley told her that she needed to go into the corner before Daddy spanked her. And I'm just there laughing, and she goes, "I don't get it." She's like, you come home from work and she's happy and screaming and everything's all like, it's like a party when you come home from work. She goes, I come home from someplace and no one cares. It's just like, I don't know. She's daddy's little girl.
I don't know. I don't know how to raise children. Why did I do this? You're just confusing me.
I'm sure at some point this is going to bite me in the ass though, because
don't let her get pregnant at 15 or whatever.
Oh, no.
Don't let her outside. There's boys everywhere.
I'm locking her in a tower.
That'll be fun, though. Actually, I'm in. That sounds cool. You get like a dragon and a moat.
All right. Maybe I made this too fun. Now she's gonna.
I know this is like a fantasy. It sounds awesome.
Now she's gonna want. Dad, I'm gonna
write this book tonight. It'll be a novella, very short. All right, we gotta go.
Yeah, we gotta go. But next Sunday, everybody, Baker from Blue Line Morphs. He will be on here. Hopefully, he does not cancel again. Last time he was going to be on. Excuse me. I think there was an officer that got shot. There was some bad shit that went down, and needless to say, he couldn't make it.
All right, that's fine. Reason to cancel.
So yeah, like he was apologizing about it. I was like, dude, just like this podcast like is not that freaking important. Go do what you got to do, dude. But so Baker should be on next week. So that is super exciting. I have no idea what video I'm going to put out for you folks this week because I don't know what I have already edited. I know I was working on the carpet, the baby carpet python update to showing everybody what they look like after they've shed, had a few meals before all of them disappear since when I filmed it, 2 of them had already went to their new homes already. So
that's okay. Partial clutch reveal.
Yeah, it's 3/4 of the clutch. I think that's good enough. I mean,
yeah. Also, you gotta do what you gotta do around here. It's fine.
Exactly.
Out there, it's fine.
I also, before we get off here, I want to thank Nathan of Infinite Possible Pythons. If you want to get into the Bang Gene, this is the guy you want to see. Also, your one-stop shop for all your branding needs. He's also working some killer ball python projects, scalers, corn snakes, kahua geckos, Legianus geckos, and cresties. So make sure you guys hit him up for that. And you got Chris from S Reptilia, which is your one-stop shop for all your reptile needs. If you need a ball python, blood python, boa, colubrid.
Wait, I can do this better.
What's that?
I'm trying to be like a creep. Keep going. You're doing great.
Jessica totally derailed me, Chris.
Keep
you don't
going.
get a refund for this one, bro. But he's the man to go to if you need any of those species. On top of it, he is a PA rat breeder. So if you're on the eastern side of PA or want to drive to the eastern side of PA, hit Chris up for some rats. Definitely some of the best quality rats that I have ever gotten are from this man right here. And you can actually pull individual rats out of the bag, and you don't get like 20 when you only want 1. Also, he has PA's distributor of Coco and the chipper. So make sure you hit him up if you want to try the best reptile cocoa substrate on the market today. And we cannot forget my brother and sister John and Christine at Triforce Morphs. They are definitely a force to be reckoned with.
A force.
You cannot find.
Sorry,
what's that?
I'm helping.
If you
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Triforce Morphs. Check them out. Instagram.
Yeah, check them out.
Market.
If you cannot find what you're looking for, I God help you finding it, because Triforce has just about everything under the sun. So go ahead and check them out. Everybody's links are in the description down below. Husbandry Pro, best reptile record keeping and tracking software on the market. Click our affiliate link in the description down below, or scan this handy dandy QR code. If you are looking at this through a laptop, go ahead and scan it with your phone, and free 30-day trial. You cannot beat it, and I will be surprised if you don't decide to start using it. Saves me so much time, and it's good for any species or anything. Even you can keep track of your oil changes and your car service crap. I mean, the possibilities for the software is limitless. And also use Redline shipping, folks. Use this code Robin60 for 60% off of 2 shipments. And I can't do this shit no more. Jessica broke me.
The ad read is going great.
Oh, that kind of reminded me of Home Improvement with Wilson.
Yeah, fuck yeah, I'm Wilson, and keep going.
But definitely everybody use Redline shipping. It's what I decided to use this year, and I do not regret it. Best prices that I've seen so far. They're the cheapest, and you do not sacrifice any quality at all. Go ahead, check out Redline shipping. Give them a shot.
Sorry about that.
I gotta say, I've never had someone derail me like that, Jessica. That was good.
You kept me on here for 3.5 hours. I get to play around a little bit with your ad read.
Hey, that's true. Plus, you probably actually gave them better.
Yeah, people are gonna want to skip to this part to see me being weird. So they will get extra promo time for Husbandry Pro.
Yes.
Shipping.
And Triforce got extra long time. Yep.
I'm sorry, though.
Lindsay said, "Oh my god, I wanted to do the peeking so bad when she was on."
See, more self-control. She's doing great. No, I like it when people peek on our show, so I wanted to give you the old treatment on the second one.
Oh shit! It's a great way to end the night. Hey, look, Adam, what's up, dude?
Speaking of the devil.
Yeah, you're a little late, but thanks for tuning in, bro. Go and check the replay.
We're leaving.
In case, we're calling it a night. 3 hours, just 3.5 hours, just.
I just lost my mind during a second ad read. So have fun. clip and ship it. It'll make a great Instagram reel.
Oh God, I still can't get over the fact that Adam came all the way from Florida up for the barbecue. Granted, he hit us on the way down home, but thank you so much, dude, again for coming out and hanging out with us and providing such top quality entertainment. It was great to hear Adam play. At one point, him and my son were jamming around, I do believe, with their guitars, because my son started playing guitar. So it was great to see Dom kind of relate music-wise with somebody, because I have no musical talent at all. Damn, you're just getting the feed? Dude, it's late. Jesus, you're going to be feed till like 2 a.m. But, all right, everybody, we're going to let Jessica go. I'm going to go. Jessica, just hang on here 1 second, though. But, everybody, thank you so much for all the love and support. Greatly appreciate it. Make sure you guys check out Wednesday's video. And Sunday, we've got Baker from Blue Line Morphs. Do not miss it. And we'll get you next time. Later.
Bye.